Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Pragyananda. Do you want to use my games to improve your chess? Now you can do. We have handpicked 50 puzzles from my games played in Champions Chess Tour this season.
I went bishop c5, d4 and queen e4. Yeah, another crucial win for the qualifications to top 8.
You can download it for free just by going to chess24.com/puzzlepack. Enjoy solving.
He played the Berlin, which I sort of expected, but I didn't really know what to do against, because in reality very few people do.
When we are playing an even game against someone of similar strength to us, usually we need to give something in order to obtain the initiative.
Just how shrewd and cunning Alireza can be, even with very little time.
I want to show you a game just to prove that I play these lines that I played against former world number 2 and a bit of a superstar, Gatakamsky.
Hi, I'm Levon Aronian.
I'm Magnus Carlsen.
My name is Anish Giri.
Grandmaster Adigon Bhaskar.
Grandmaster Hans Zeman.
Grandmaster Lim Quang Le.
Zivan Šarić, former European champion.
Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? Hope life is great wherever you are. My name is Pepe Cuenca and I'm very happy to be here today in the Challenger Chess Tour in the Magnus Academy Challenge with Ellen Nilssen, woman FIDE master from Denmark. How are you, Ellen?
Oh, I'm doing so well. Thank you so much. I am very, very excited for all the drama on the chessboards that we will be having today. We're only 40 seconds away approximately from starting the first round here at the Magnus Chess Academy Challenge.
Exactly. So remember, we have 15 talented players, very young, and they all want to qualify for the final four of this Challenger Chess Tour. And remember that in the first event, already 2 players qualified, Esipenko and Satwani, and today we have a list of fantastic players, starting from Erdomus, Natisin, Vasnavala, sorry for my pronunciation. Then we have Candela Francisco. This is an easy one for me. She's from Argentina. Mishra, you know Mishra as well, right, Ellen?
Well, who cannot know the youngest grandmaster in history? He's for sure looking to win this tournament, but I think that there are some very, very capable players who might be able to knock him down. For sure, Mishra is the favorite, but I think Pranav, he has a pretty good chance of also getting one of the top 2 spots.
Exactly. We have 2 players above 2,500, Mishra and Pranav. And then we have some players above 2,400, for example, Varat, Samonenkov, Erdomus, Gurel, Ilan Party, above 2,300, Ilan Party, Ilian Snyder from Argentina. And then we have Chinese player Lu Miaoyi, then Sahiti from India, Vishwa Van Vasnavala, Candela Van Forest, and Aydin. And as you said, we have in the first round a fantastic battle between Mishra and Varat.
Definitely our top match that we're getting here in the first round. One of them at least. But I have to ask you, Pepe, first of all, who's your favorite to win the tournament? And secondly, if you had to pick a dark horse, then who would you go with?
Well, if I had to pick a dark horse, I will pick, Ilian Snyder from Argentina. I know this guy. He's super talented. I actually played against him a Blitz game like 3 years ago or something like that, before the pandemic. He was very close to beat me. He was super young at that time. I don't know, maybe 10 years or something. So if I have to pick one, I will go for Ilian Snyder. But of course, the favorites are Mishra, Pranav, Varat. How about you, Ellen?
Oh, I think it's going to be a very tough one. If I had to if I had to go with one, I'm gonna pick one of the girls. I'm gonna pick Chinese Miaoyi Lu. Just I hope that she really does well. And yeah, I think we have some games started. If I'm not completely wrong, I see some moves in some of the games at least, but maybe we don't have it on our screen.
I don't see the moves yet in our software. Yes, we do have. Sorry.
We do have moves, and we are ready to go. And we can also just say a quick hello to everyone in all the chats everywhere. We are looking, we are reading. If you have any questions, anything you would like to know, then write to us. We're reading, and we would love to hear from you.
Exactly. So Mishra already started with this d4, and then bishop b4 check. Now knight b2 d2, of course. Then bishop d2 is also a natural move, but knight b2 d2, b6, and a3, trying to get the bishop pair ready, Ellen.
Yeah, this is a pretty standard theory. We didn't see a knight c3 in the Nimso from Mishra. That could have been some fun as well. But this line is supposed to be a little bit better for white, but there's a lot of play in it for sure.
Right. So queen sometimes comes to f4. Sometimes white goes b4, followed by bishop b2, e3, etc., etc. Let's see how the game proceeded. So 1 second, let me update. So e3, d6, b4, short castle, and bishop e2, intending to go short castle. Here, of course, a key square is the e4 square, right, Ellen?
Yes, it's a knight would very much love to land here. Sometimes it's also played with the f5 move. Sometimes there are some more breaks in the center by black. But let's just quickly remind everyone that the time control we are playing here today is 5 plus 3. So it's a slower time control in Blitz, but for sure a lot can happen, especially when the players, they get down on time. Pranav have actually gained time on the clock, but Mishra has started to think a little bit already.
Exactly, 4 minutes. And as you said, like there are some nice plans followed by knight e4, f5, and even g5, queen f6, or rook f6, even rook h6, g4, and then checkmate. Well,
yeah, and we do see f5 on the board.
Exactly, f5 reinforcing the knight. Well, sometimes you can even think about this move, d5, because if black takes on d5, then knight d4 is actually very, very annoying for black. You're not only threatening to go knight e6, but also f3 followed by knight to f5. And d5 is already played.
d5 on the board, trying to break up black structure. I guess you have to reply with e5 here, especially since the knight from f3 can't go to g5. That's one of the main plans or ideas with this d5 move. But after e5, white still has to do some maneuvering, and black will try to get a majority on the kingside rolling.
Exactly. And after d5, e5, white has achieved something very important, which is to lock down this bishop on b7. So it's not so strong anymore. Before that, like the bishop had a very nice diagonal. Now after this d5 with the pawn on c4, this bishop won't have a life from this diagonal.
Yes. So I have to ask you, Pepe, if you would choose a side here, who would you choose? We can, well, I guess we can say that white is a little bit better, but black also has a little bit more time on the clock. And in a blitz game, these kingside attacks, they can get very, very dangerous very fast.
Exactly. So I will pick white, I think, because of the bishop pair. I love bishop pair. And we always insist a lot in our Spanish streams about the bishop pair. But of course, the position is complicated. As you said, like what black has decent chances. Black has a lot of space as well on the king side, and then you can start rolling your pawns and your heavy pieces. But without this bishop, I think the attack is not strong enough. But of course, the game is very, very complicated.
Yeah, and that's probably why Pranav is taking a longer think here in this position. Would like to take a d5, but probably not enjoying the knight d4 move and being a little bit worried about the bishop on b7. So we can also say that Pranav recently won the World Youth Chess Championships in his age category, which I believe is under 16. So very strong, very up and coming. It will be very interesting to see how he does in the tournament. But he's really taking a think here. Like
he already played knight g5.
He played, okay.
And of course, now you cannot take twice on g5 and e6 because there is checkmate on g2.
the bishop coming alive.
Right, but then you can maybe play knight d4 with the same idea of maybe playing f4 or even h4 followed by knight e6. For example, after e takes d5, you can always play knight takes f5. And I believe these positions favor white a little bit because this bishop is, you know, very dangerous, but this king is also in danger. You know, exactly. These two guys here are super strong, and something bad is about to happen to that king.
Yeah, we do see some. Wait. Oh, we didn't see more moves on the board. Sorry, my bad. I really like this knight d4 move that you were pointing out, really trying to take advantage of the weak squares in Black's position, and it is played. Mishra doesn't miss the chance.
Yeah, exactly. And now Black is in deep trouble, I believe. I don't see a move actually besides he takes d5. What else, Ellie? You go e5, then I just take the pawn. If you do nothing, then I just play f4 or h4. So he went for it. He takes d5 in this position.
Yeah,
And
a few different options for white. Mishra decides to just take back with the pawn. Bishop takes d5 also on the board. I guess you have a few different options here. With white, you've given away a pawn, but your bishops can become so strong because the position has opened up. So a move like bishop b2 or I think knight f5, there's bishop e4, yeah?
Yeah,
so
but
you have
maybe queen b3.
careful.
Maybe queen b3 it's still so in this position.
Ah,
so
okay.
f5, bishop e4, and then queen b3.
Yes.
But maybe queen f6 I was thinking about in this position, and then the rook and the knights are both attacked. So basically, you go back to d4, then c5, and suddenly this rook is in deep trouble, right?
Yes, so that would allow for some real counterplay for Black in the position. Mishra thinking a little bit here how to best start an attack.
But then, you know, okay, maybe the engine is saying that white is much better. As you guys can see, the part, but a pawn is a pawn. So, and he went bishop c4. I actually don't like this move. I don't know why, because, well, I'm giving up the bishop pair. So he took and then king h8, and, well, still, white is a pawn down. So, it's not that easy.
I don't know if this is a stupid question, but I'll ask it anyway. What happens if white plays a move like f4 in this position, tries to kick the knight away from g5 to get the knight on d4 into e6?
Yeah, that's a very nice idea. You want to go knight e6. That's very concrete. I believe that after f4, the only move is c5 here. So nice intermediate move, right? And so let's just try to make this clear. So f4, of course, I make knight e4, then knight e6, but you have this, I think, as c5.
Yeah,
saving the game. Okay, bishop b2 has been played.
Yeah, I like the bishop. The bishop is so strong on the diagonal, looking down at the king, and this could become a little bit dangerous for Black. He played knight e5. I like that move, trying to kick the queen away, centralizing the knight. Looks good.
That's very nice. Also fighting against this guy here on b2. There are some nice tricks as well. For example, on f3, like let's say some c5 followed by knight f3 in some lines. So I believe like this is what I was about to say. Like if white is not very accurate in this position, then Black will remain with a pawn up and with an advantage. And I think
you said it. A pawn is a pawn.
A pawn is a pawn, and already think I will take Black in this position. Let's say c5. He went f4, which is also nice. And now rook f4. And after this pawn trade, this knight will have a nice outspot on e5.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That knight could almost stay there the entire game. And Black is ready to develop the rest of the pieces. Queen d7, rook f8. The attack could start rolling very quickly.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Well, now maybe there are some tactics. Let's say c5 and then knight g to f3, and then the queen can come to h4. So I don't know if that works. But
that looked very, very dangerous. Getting the because the knight is pretty well placed in the center, so it could make sense to just kick it away with a move like c5.
Okay, when queen d7, which is very natural as well, just getting ready to double rooks on the f file. Also, this queen can land on h3 after some knight f3, let's say c5, and then these tricks with knight f3. So it's very, very tricky to play with the white pieces now. And Mishra only has 39 seconds in the clock.
And he plays b5, probably exactly to stop this c5 move from landing on the board.
Prophylaxis, right. So preventing this Black's idea of going c5. Now, well, let's see, rook f8. Very natural.
Yeah,
as well.
makes a lot of sense. Just bringing the rook into play and f3, stopping
Yeah.
all these knight f3 tactics that you were talking about. It looks like a very weakening move. We're told to never move the f pawn, but concretely, it might be a very, very good move to not get.
Yeah, I like these moves a lot. So there are no more knight f3 tricks. And then if I could just go g3 at some point, now it's extremely tough, of course, because there are 4 pieces, no? But maybe rook c3 is an idea to go g3 and then f4 and then kick these knights from e5 or g5. So knight g6.
And now the knight has an idea of coming to h4 as well in some lines when there's no g3.
And
rook c2, I like this move, protecting the second rank.
Right. So overprotecting g2.
If you're black, how do you continue here? Because I was thinking to maybe play a move like h5, but that weakens the king a lot. Because I would like to go h5, h4, h3. But black also has to find a way to continue, because whites try to lock down the position a lot and just try to stop black from penetrating in the position.
Right. And now white has a target. For example, rook fc1 could be an idea to start putting pressure on the c7 point. Looks like the attack is almost controlled with this knight d4 and then the pawn on g2 and f3 doing a nice defensive task. And now rook fc1 already, asking some questions. So black has to go passive, rook c8. And I don't know, Ellen.
Well, that b5 move really shows itself how strong it is right now. And the queen goes to f7, but white is getting some counterplay here. You can even imagine sometimes, the knight getting to c6, taking on a7, back to c6, and then playing a5.
Rook h4. Well, now we are in
Someone wants
trouble.
to checkmate.
Yeah, exactly. You're targeting the h2 pawn. Rook c4. Now this invites for knight e5, once again winning a tempo. And then maybe queen h5 is coming, right? And rook h2.
Yeah, that
queen
could look
h5.
scary. So queen h5 here.
Maybe you have to go g4 or something like that in that position.
g4, no way.
I think that's the only... because g3 runs into knight f3, right? So you have to go g4. I think it's the only move.
Beautiful.
And only
but Mishra with only 10 seconds on the clock. Do you think? And he found it. Wow, that's an insane move with 10 seconds on the clock.
And now I don't know what's going on with this rook on h4, Ellen.
Well, it looks pretty stupid, but he can go to h3 and just attack the f3 pawn later.
Right. So rook h3 is still in the air. Now some f4 ideas as well, but then queen d5 could be extremely dangerous. So queen g2 protecting this diagonal, protecting this pawn. Can I take this guy here? I don't think so, because then rook f1 at some point, and then the knight is pinned.
This is a crazy game. Oh, he took it, yeah. Rook f1, rook takes h2?
Rook takes h2, or even, rook takes e4. This is stronger, I believe,
Yeah, just taking the pawn.
This could be over. Rook g2, rook f7, rook c2.
And then c2 and f7, wow. And that was so quickly calculated by Pranav. I am super impressed because he's gonna get this game for sure. Like there's no counterplay for white here, just down so much material.
Right. So this is game over basically. So Guillermo is asking, can you please analyze all the games as well? Just taking into account the time control is always tough to follow more than one game per round. So we'll try to change between different players so you guys can see different names and games.
Yeah, but of course this it was a tough one not to follow this one here in the first round. The top two seeds playing each other, but it really looks like Pranav is gonna get a great start to the tournament. Maybe it's time that we can switch somewhere else. I can see that Lou, she beat Francisco. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Candela Francisco.
Candela, yes. I will just say Candela then. It looked like a pretty good game from what I just saw, and it was the first result of the round also. All of the other games are actually still playing. Maybe we can pick. Wow, that's a rook game with a lot of pawns.
But this is completely lost.
Completely lost for white. Many pawns for black in this position.
Too many pawns. There's 2 pawns up, and then you see 3 islands, and black has only one island of pawns. Sorry. So this is
the pawns they will be rolling down the board very, very soon. Pranav did win the game against Mishra. Congratulations! That was a real fight.
That was a very tense game with options for both sides. And this is Lamparty. She's doing what she has to do, like exchanging pieces when you are material up. And actually, Anastasia already resigned in this position.
Yeah, not a lot to hope for there. This looks complicated.
It is like white is an exchange down, but at the same time, it's not easy to penetrate in this position, right? So you just stay there with the king. Well, the problem is now you can never go king g2 because of g3.
G3, that's nice. So trying to go king f1, king e1. You know what I'm looking at here? I'm looking at king e7, king d7, king c6, and just bringing the king in from the other side. Could be pretty cool.
Yeah, you want to go from this side, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's also possible just to take this pawn and then try to,
Yeah, bring the king in via g4.
Bring the king in.
The problem for white here is that there's pretty much no counterplay at all. The pawns, they can't really start rolling. So g3 was played, giving a passed pawn, and now bringing the king is looking good for black.
This should be over, yeah. King h4, and then even g2, knight takes e2, king g3, probably that's even winning.
That looks very, very nice. So how about g2 in this position? Does it work?
These two, I think it's winning, yeah. So knight takes e2, king g3, and I think it's just over. So, but okay, he went for rook f2. G5.
So what's the going back now? So white is trying to play the waiting game, but g2 is
no, he wants to bring the king. He's trying to do your plan, king f6. No, he goes back.
Okay. Maybe just did this win or lose a tempo? I'm a little bit unsure. Like if you go rook d2 here, it's not a threefold, is it?
Well, he's gotta be extremely careful with the triple repetition. And now he has to go back to f2, otherwise he's just losing rook e3, d7.
That pawn is running really fast.
Right, and he's playing with fire, of course, in this game.
Yeah, seems like it for sure. But okay, isn't the pawn lost? The pawn lost after all?
Well, I think so.
But now this is beautiful. d7, g2, and rook d1.
Well, rook d1 checkmate, even better.
Oh, rook d1 is even a checkmate in one. Yes, of course.
Okay.
So
I think all games are completely finished, right?
Okay. Yes. So Machtel, she beat your dark horse in the tournament.
Exactly. She beat Ilan. Snyder.
No draws this round, actually.
And
that's what we love about Blitz. It's just so bloody all the time.
Let's see what else. So Gurel beat Sahiti, and Pranav beat Mishra, and then Bharat beat Jagiz. Ilan Party beat Anastasia, and Candela lost versus Chinese player Lu Miaoyi. So what do we have in the second round, Ellen? What game do you want to follow?
Oh, the second round is looking pretty good as well. Oh, can we take one of the girls? I was thinking maybe Navala against Lu. Lu, she did win her first game against Candela, so it could be a fun one to follow.
Let's go there. So Basnavala versus Lu, your dark horse, a Chinese player, 2273 the rating. So very strong.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe that she's from 2010. So she's only 12 years old with a 2273 rating. So I'm really, really looking forward to see how she does. It's these Chinese players, they're so good.
They're super talented nowadays. They improve
and
so fast.
And everything.
When I was 12 years old, I could even go to the toilet by alone.
No, honestly, when I see all these kids becoming GMs and IMs, I'm just thinking, you know what? At that time in my life, what could I actually do? What had I achieved? And I'm just here like, could I even tie my shoes? And these kids are just understanding chess on a level that I will never get. We see some sharp opening play. I'm going to be interested to see what Lu she plays here. There are a few different ways. D6, C6, C5, D5 are all ways. So G3 or Fianchetto Benoni, we might get into. Yeah, she does play e6.
Benoni, exactly. So, I mean, for example, to short castle b5, we could even transpose to a Benko, but okay, she stops that by playing knight c3, and then we're in a Benoni, as you said.
Yes. So the Benoni is usually seen as a little bit of a sketchy opening, but first of all, it splits. Secondly, this g3 line is known to be the most sharp way to play against the Benoni, and I'm not a Benoni player myself, but playing it in bullet, I absolutely enjoy. It's always fun.
It's a lot of fun. This King's Indian Benoni is with this super monster g7. It's always fun to play. But Benoni is suffering in top chess. But of course, I mean, besides top chess, above 2700, okay, the rest of mortals, we can play basically everything. So nobody can tell you cannot play the accelerated dragon. It's not true. Nobody can tell you cannot play the Benoni. It's just not true. Maybe in top level, these openings suffered, but not for the rest of us, yeah?
I like this e takes d5 move, by the way, because now the bishop on g2 is kind of killed. Can't really move a lot. Bishop d7. Okay, she's maybe trying to prepare b5.
Yeah, exactly. So b5 is the threat. So basically, a4 is the only move. But now you have gained this outspot for the knight.
That looks pretty nice.
And white has also nice plans with knight d2, knight c4, maybe bishop a4. So targeting the weakness in g6. And you can also think about pushing your central pawns because you have a majority on the center of the board. So.
Yeah.
Knight e4. This is also very interesting.
Very typical.
Right, because once you have traded these pieces, then the rook can come to b4.
I was actually just going to ask you about that. What if the rook ever went to b4? I just think it looks so cool.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I have played this line, this type of positions with black and with white as well. And this rook on b4, it looks very, very interesting, but also sometimes can be risky, you know, because it's almost trapped.
It's a rook on b4, yeah?
Exactly. It's a rook on b4 in the middle games.
It looks very interesting. I love the position that they have right now. Looks very sharp. Blue, she's played incredibly fast. I'm wondering if she's still in prep. Knight d2, rook b4. If she's still in prep here, I'm amazed.
Right. Very, very impressive. How fast she's playing. Now queen c2, natural move, protecting b2. And I don't know, maybe black can develop the knight. Maybe black can play b5.
And she just goes for b5. Just the typical plan in the Benoni. If white takes and we take back with the bishop, the good thing for black there is that you actually get the d7 square for the knight, which I guess you would much rather have here because the b4 square is occupied by the rook. And then you can get the knight to e5. You're looking at the c4 square. It's looking... I love the position for black here.
Yeah, and I think that was a very important move because white's threat was to play knight c4 and then suddenly d6 starts suffering, right? Very, very quickly. But with this b5 move, as you say, after pawn takes, bishop takes b5, not only you free the d7 square, but you control c4, and then at the same time, you target the e2 pawn.
Yes, so white has to do something. Wait, she actually did not take on b5 yet?
No,
I guess not, okay.
No, Basnavala is still thinking. And maybe you can think about, he goes rook d1. Rook d1, giving up the a4 pawn.
Just giving up the a4 pawn. And what's the rook doing on d1?
Well, I think she just wants to, Basnavala wants to use the c4 square, for example.
So she just c4. Gives away the move. Okay, I understand.
But after bishop b5, I think you have to go back with the knight. There's no other move. So
yeah, the knight is just... standing there on the c4 square. I don't think rook d1 would have been the first move for me. She probably just wanted to pass the move, but black has so much play in this position.
Right. I think now this is just a pawn up for black. The bishop is coming in a way to b5, I believe, in this position, and you have to go back with the knight. So white is in deep trouble.
Probably it was this bishop b5 move she hadn't seen. Because if black doesn't have bishop b5 and white gets a few moves to consolidate, the knight on c4 is looking real good.
Exactly. Now knight a3, attacking the bishop. And, well, you have two options. You can play a6 and you can play even bishop a6. just going back.
Because
this bishop
white
can
is
never be
threatening-
developed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the pawn on b2.
Yeah, never forget about that beautiful bishop on g7.
This monster. And a6 also a nice move, because if you take now on b5, then I of course improve my pawn structure, and this is just looking amazing for black.
Yeah, Lucy is thinking right now. Also, the fact that she played so quickly in the opening also means that she has a lot of time to give right now, so she can think about which move is really the best move.
She's playing fantastically. a6 now, rook b1.
Oh, she really is.
And well, white can play now. Well, white wants to play bishop d2 now because the b2 pawn is protected. But I don't know if that is even possible because of bishop e2 after bishop d2. So.
Oh, those are some tricky variations. She does go for knight d7. So if bishop d2, as you said, bishop e2.
Yes, rook b3. Yeah.
Okay, she just played rook b3. No reason to go into the concrete lines when you have a position like this. The rook can't even be targeted from b3. It's just standing great.
Yeah. She's playing fantastic chess, very, very fast. Now there are real troubles for white in this position. So knight to c4. Once again, attacking this pawn on d6. I think I will never take this guy on c4. I don't want to give up the bishop.
Oh, the bishop is so strong on b5. What happens if... okay, we have to be a little bit careful. Queen f6, bishop c3 could be annoying. But we want to protect the pawn on d6. So can we activate the queen another way?
Well, I think queen f6, bishop c3, you can take on c3.
Oh, just giving the exchange. Not giving the exchange. Yes.
No, it's just two pieces for the rook, yeah?
Yeah. He chose to go for knight e5 instead, also a perfectly reasonable move.
Yeah, because now, I mean, if you don't take on e5, let's say you go knight a5 or something, then the e2 pawn is hanging. So basically, this is just forcing white to take on e5. And of course, this position is looking extremely great. Now, your idea with queen f6, rook b8, there's just too much pressure on the b5.
Yeah. I have to say, she's 12 years old and she's playing blitz like this. I am thoroughly impressed. It's really, really great to see.
Yeah, I think we're all gonna remember this name in the future. Yeah,
I think Miaoyi. We are. Let's also remind the people who are watching. It is only the top 2 players who are going to qualify for the finals in the Challengers Chess Tour, where the winner of the finals will be playing against no other than Pragnanana in the finals. It's going to be really great to see how it goes here today and tomorrow. Today we have 8 rounds and tomorrow we have 7. That a-pawn is going to run quickly down the board. I believe it's going to become a queen at some point.
Yeah, queen a5 as well coming in order to target c3, rook b8. And as you said, this bishop is doing nothing. He's bored, like reading some poetry in a Saturday night. So this guy is having some fun, dancing salsa.
Oh, I've actually only danced salsa once in my life, but I enjoyed it so much. Maybe we should leave this game to Lou, not jinx her too much. We could go to Candela. It looks like she is having an advantage against Anastasia from Ukraine.
Well, for sure, she does have an exchange.
But it is for a pawn, and the bishop on f4 and the knight on e5 are looking good. But the pieces for black, they seem to be a little bit uncoordinated. If white could play a move like g3, kick that bishop away from f4, it would be really nice. So I'm thinking about moves like...
you can even take on e5. Well, maybe not now because you take with the rook, I think. But for sure, this has to be an advantage as well. Let's say rook e5 and then rook d4, just rook c4.
Yeah, the pawn on c6 is a very nice target for white in this position.
Well, rook e8, just going after the pawn, and then rook b7, passive. Bishop a3. Well, careful now with knight c4.
Oh,
so you basically have to go back.
Yeah.
And then you have this nice maneuver, bishop b8 and knight b6.
Oh wow! What is that madness? Oh, but Anastasia, only with 20 seconds left on the clock, does not find it.
It was very tough.
Yes.
So rook d1, and now 14 seconds for Anastasia with this very tough position. King f7.
And now bringing the rook to the 8th rank must be the way to go, just playing active in this position. And we do see... Yes, sorry, I just wanted to say that Pranab won his second game, this time against Sahithi from India.
So 2 out of 2, already leading tournament. Now bishop d4, I believe. Well, black's only contemplates to go c4. This one is almost impossible because there's a hanging bishop on d4.
Hugo's rook h8 wants to take on h7, so can you take on h7 now?
Well, I guess king g6 to just go back.
And just go back, yeah? Okay,
but now you gotta be a little bit careful because black wants to go bishop e3 maybe, and then rook d2.
Trying to create some counterplay. Bishop e3 is played on the board.
Well, at least you see some ghosts here with the white pieces.
Oh, for sure, yes.
Well, she
a cold-blooded, just taking the pawn off the board.
Right.
Now, can you be really cheeky and go king? Oh, king c1, rook d8. Sorry.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
That's a nice move.
Yeah.
And you run now. King b4. No more checks.
A king on adventure, as I like to say.
Right. And I think it's not enough for black, of course. Well, rook c3, just blundered.
No. Oh, and with 1 minute on the clock.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
Chess is so painful, you know.
Oh, and it was so... Oh, I really loved that king on b4.
Yeah, you know, this is
But
chess,
maybe it went a little bit too far. It was dancing a little bit too much into the night.
Right. Yeah. Too much drinks, you know.
Yeah. Happens when you get a few too many cocktails.
And now it's completely lost, of course, for white. The king is still dancing, but without the partner now, without rook on c8. And
dancing alone, maybe.
Exactly.
And black is playing this solidly, putting the rook on c7, stopping all the white counterplay. It looks like there's nothing to do.
Do you dance alone at your home, Ellen? Sometimes? Or?
Oh, I most certainly do. Most certainly do. There's nothing to get me going like some good music.
Right. Well, you still have a hope here. a5, b6, but not gonna work. Well,
the worst part for white here is that even if you win the white rook, or even if you win the black rook for a pawn, black is still the one pushing.
Right, exactly, with the knight and 2 pawns.
Yeah.
And now this is just over. The knight controls b6, and then you can start rolling your pawns.
Yeah, this is winning for black. Maybe we should try to catch the last moments of some other games.
Maybe
a lot of drama in the Mishra game, yes.
What's going on here with this endgame? Should be winning for white, but
it looks...
king f1, king. You talk about this king is running as well. You gotta be.
That king
careful.
is actually fast.
Now king e5. That's the most reasonable move, and then king looks winning for black. I don't know why the engine is saying this is equal.
Winning, but couldn't white be able to pick up all the black pawns? Wow.
Nice counter-attack with this king h4. Who's faster here? This is crazy. Ellen, king d4, king g5, king d3, king f6, and then suddenly the g pawn.
How about king f5 here, just to stop the king on e3 from moving?
Right, yeah, this is the safest way to play. Now after king d2, just take, and then king f4, and probably it's just a draw. Probably, but...
I was thinking, how about if you went rook a1 just to try to get the king a little bit further away, but maybe the knight would be quick at coming back then.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, if white goes king f6, king takes f7,
this is just a
black
draw.
cannot stop it, right?
No, I don't think so, because knight e8, just go king e7, and...
Yeah, so maybe this could be our first and only draw of the tournament so far. We are seeing a lot of results and officially a draw in this game.
So I think all games are finished. Well, yes, let's see the results. So Samunenkov beat my guy Ilan Schneider. Then the Van Forest lost against Gurel. Pranav beat Sahiti. Mishra drew against Subramanian. And Erdogmus lost versus Ilan Party. And Anastasia beat Candela. And
she did win the game, starting on 2 out of 2 in this tournament. Only 12 years old. Who is she going to play in the next round? I can see here that she has a bye in the next round, actually.
Okay.
Because they are only 15 players.
Exactly.
So she will start on 3 out of 3.
So basically, there are 4 players leading: Gurel, Ilan Party, Pranav, and Lu. So Pranav, who's playing Pranav? Van Forest. What else do we have? So what should we follow?
I think Van Forest against Pranav could be an interesting game. She has the white pieces, the youngest of the Van Forest family. She's a very strong chess player, WIM and an FM also. She recently finished 3rd at the World Youth Under 16. A very, very good result, of course. And she started this tournament by beating Schneider. Then she lost to Gurel, and now she's playing a very important game against Pranav, who's been showing some real class so far.
We'll start in a couple of minutes. Are you playing some tournaments, Ellen, in the following weeks? Or
I think I am on Friday.
Oh, really? What are you playing?
Oh, just a little weekend tournament in Denmark to move a few pieces around.
In Copenhagen?
Yes. No, not Copenhagen.
No,
it's
not Copenhagen.
It's in Odense, which is a place that no non-Danish person knows this place. How about you? I saw that you played a tournament in Spain not so long ago.
Yeah, yes, I was playing there, and I'm gonna start a tournament in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, in a couple of days, actually.
Oh, really? That sounds nice.
Yeah, and then I'll play in Medellin, Colombia, at the end of November. So, sounds.
How is
like
Buenos Aires this time of year? I've actually never been.
It's amazing. Now it's spring here, so the weather is perfect, and you know the meat is amazing here. The ice cream is great.
Don't get me started on ice cream. I love ice cream way too much, and I'm gonna have it after this broadcast. So
I think Italy and Argentina are the best countries for ice cream in the world.
Oh yes, I've had Italian ice cream more times than one, and I'm just happy that I don't live in Italy because I would.
Yeah, we'll get too fat. Yeah.
Well,
every day eating ice cream. Yeah.
There just wouldn't be any more ice cream left in the world, I think.
You'll finish everything.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I lived in Italy actually for 6 months. I studied there, my master's, like 10 years ago or something.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, and Spring Break saying pistachio ice cream. I love pistachio ice cream. That's
pistachio.
That sounds really.
I'm
really
more
nice.
classic, stuff.
How about stracciatella? How do you feel about that?
It's also great too. Yeah. I'm very basic.
I love it so much.
Okay, so the game started already with E4, E5 and the Italian opening.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting.
Maybe we can see the Fegatello
playing knight
attack
f6. I would love to see knight g5 here. I would absolutely love it.
The Fegatello attack, as you guys know, after knight d5, the only move is d5, and after d takes e5, the best move by far is knight a5.
Does play knight g5. This is gonna be amazing.
It's well known that knight takes d5 is not good because of this sacrifice, and then white is just much better in this position. So
yeah, bishop d7. Okay.
Bishop d7.
So c6 is the normal move here in the fried liver.
Exactly.
Or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Exactly. But after bishop d7, I think the move was queen e2. So bishop takes d7 is not accurate. I think now black just recaptures the pawn very easily. So short castle, and I think you can even take this pawn on d5 because after rook e1 you can play f6, reinforcing and at the same time attacking the knight on g5. So I think black is a little bit better already. You have more space. This pawn on e5 doing a great job.
Yeah, and what we also see now in this position is that Black's pieces are so easy to develop here. Getting the bishop out from e7 to c5 and castling whichever way you want with the rook. While white is very... only on the first two ranks, and the knight on g5 is looking weird. Black has a pawn in the center, and white's development, where is it? I probably need glasses to see it. So Pranav doing fine here, but of course there are no weaknesses in the white position, so it can't be too bad, of course.
Right. So I think this knight already did its job on a5. So at some point, this knight is coming back for sure to c6 to protect the e5 pawn and also to control the important d4 square. Otherwise, white will, kick with d4 at some point. d4, anyway.
Breaking in the center while black hasn't castled. Quick question. So if you have to castle here with black, do you want to go long or short?
I think the spirit of this position is to go long castle, I believe. But I don't know if you're going to manage to do that anymore, because after queen takes e4, you cannot go long castle, of course, because of queen a7. And then after knight c6, maybe queen e4, and then you can have some troubles along the e file.
Yeah. So maybe taking on d4 wasn't the most precise way to play for black, but I'm not sure what else Pranav should have played.
Yeah. It is the most human move, it takes e4, just not losing the pawn immediately. So maybe it's just not the end of the world for black. Let's say queen takes e4, you can play h6, and after rook e1, just bishop e7, and I don't see any direct problem on black's position. You can even go short castle. Now, maybe it's not time to go long castle anymore, but just more solid with short castle.
She started with rook e1, giving a check. This should be, I guess, fine as well.
It's just transposition after bishop e7. Maybe there's nothing better than just taking the pawn on d4. Right?
Yeah. So queen takes d4. She probably has to take back the pawn, because otherwise black might play c5, protecting it, or knight c6, and then quickly castling. So I think getting some active play, attacking the pawn on g7 is probably what's needed here.
I understand she wants to find something more aggressive, maybe some queen h5 ideas, some queen f3, but I think it's just not working in this position. And sometimes you have to upset that, just just take the pawn and then proceed the game. Of course, black is going to manage to castle, but...
Yeah, and she also, I think she needs to play a little bit faster, because Pranav here has been showing some real speed, and we're only on move 10, and she spent 2 minutes already.
Well, one important thing is that after long castle, in the short castle, I was thinking something like queen e4 here, but then just bishop takes e5. No, I didn't say anything, so...
Okay, knight c6, I like this move, just because the knight on a5 was misplaced, so kicking the queen away from the center.
What happens here after queen g7?
We castle. No, we don't. Maybe we do. Can we castle?
Just I think it's the only move, I think it's the only move.
Checkmating?
Yeah, just rook g8 and attack.
Attack.
She goes queen d3. Of course, this is prophylaxis versus short castle, because there's mate on h7, but...
Yeah, don't pre-move
black
that
can
one.
Start with, exactly, don't pre-move that, but h6 first. Now you have to go back, and then black can even go long castle or short castle, both.
If long castles, the rook on d8 will look really nice, just pointing down at the queen on d3. No more issues with the pawn on a7. We have a question in the chat. What is the time for that? They are playing with 5 minutes plus 3 seconds per move. And people are cheering for Pranav in the chat. So yeah, if you're watching, you can let us know who you will be cheering for. C4?
C4, but knight d2. I think this is just a big blunder. Knight b4, queen d7, king d7, and then you're attacking the knight on... Exactly. Rook on... Well, there's a fork on c2. Unstoppable.
And the knight on g5 is misplaced.
Exactly.
It's attacked.
So knight d7, king d7, knight f7 probably, but then rook f8, and this is just game over.
Wow.
Because black is going to get a full rook on a1 probably.
Yeah, and she on the cam, she doesn't look happy. I think this could be it.
I think it's over if we're not missing something strange here. I think you have to take on d7 and you have to take on f7. Well, after rook d1 check, just go king c8. And after knight f7, just go rook f8. And the knight is even trapped in that position. You're going to even move it away. So knight c2 as well.
Okay, so how about... No, yeah, it's a fork. And the rook is trapped.
It's just losing. Yeah, I was thinking about trying to capture the a1 knight just to be an exchange down in that position, but I don't see a way to capture the knight. I mean, to prevent this knight just flying away from a1 to c2.
Yeah, and she takes on f7, but there's nothing to do because after rook f8, the knight is still attacked and there's still a knight c2 coming.
Right. So
even knight e5 doesn't work because the rook on a1 is just trapped. This is what happens when you don't develop your pieces, unfortunately.
Exactly. So knight c2, and then there's no way to stop. Knight takes a1. So knight h6. Now probably knight c2 is the most accurate move right now.
Yeah, she's just trying to get a few pawns, but it looks like she's not going to trap that knight on a1, is she? It's going to take too long.
Yeah, because usually what you do is you place a knight on a3 to stop knight c2, but in this position it's not even possible because there is a bishop pointing out to a3. So
yeah,
it's bye-bye. Sayonara, baby.
Maybe we should take a look at one of the other games then.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe Ilan Party is one of the leaders versus
let's do that.
Mishra.
Also has 2 out of 2 or 6 out of 6, as here a win does gain you 3 points. b3 played. Okay, the bishop has to move. It has a few different places it can go. It went to a6.
Yeah, so... Well, black should be a little bit better because of this pawn on a3. And also this bishop is extremely active. The knight has a nice square on c5. But okay, it's not the end of the wall, of course, for black this position. Maybe just queen d2. You keep playing.
I just keep on looking at tricks after a move like queen d2. If black could ever be able to play knight takes b3, a6, b3, and then a2.
And queen takes a2.
Yeah.
Queen takes a2 and bishop e2. No, interesting.
Oh, I'm a genius without knowing. Okay.
So queen d2, knight b3, a b3. I guess you have to take and reach this position, which still is probably around equal. But...
Yeah, I guess we preferred it with the pawn on a3 instead of just trading all the pieces. And Pranav did indeed win the game against Machtelt. There was not a lot to do. That knight is looking gorgeous on d3, though.
Right. And now e5 is under attack. So basically, maybe you have to go f4.
Oh, but
now there's a nice tactics.
Knight takes g3 and the knight on c3 is hanging.
And goes for it. And now this is looking very, very bad for white. It's just a clean pawn down.
Oh, a clean pawn and a weak king. That's pretty much the last thing you want. Black has the pawn and the compensation.
Exactly. So Mishra is not starting.
Not starting well at all.
So he is only.
He has a half point.
A half out of two games. Yeah.
Yeah. And this would also bring Ilan Parthi to 3 out of 3. Already having played some of the top players in the tournament. Knight e4 was attacking the queen.
Well, I would have loved to go queen e1, so minimizing risks. Exactly, because now, queen g4 and then suddenly f5, bishop h6 ideas. You have to be extremely careful with the black pieces.
And Ilan Parthi actually has close to 3 minutes in this position, while Mishra doesn't have a lot of time, but is starting to create counterplay.
For example, you take this pawn, probably queen h4, even knight h5, king h8, and then bishop d4.
Bishop d4, yes, and then e6 is looking...
e6. Suddenly a lot of counterplay, so I wouldn't like to be in Ilan Parti's shoes right now. And
luckily, though, he has a lot of time to figure it out.
Exactly. Before, she was like controlling position perfectly, but now suddenly you have this counterplay with the white pieces, and this is not what you want to have. And the good thing for black is like it has 2 minutes in the clock, so you can relax, think a bit, and try to stop white stack. But it's not gonna be easy. Well, I was thinking about this move 91 just to attack this guy here, and maybe intend to go queen takes e2 and then trade a lot of pieces. But probably bishop e4. And I don't know what the knight on e1 is doing actually. So.
I can understand why Ilan Parti here is taking a lot of time to try to calculate this position, because it is starting to look very, very dangerous for the black king. The bishops, they could do a lot of damage. I think it's very critical what black plays here.
So what do we play here with black? I don't know, 91, bishop e4, queen e2, I was thinking. But yeah, this is just losing. Takes and
king f2 is attacking all the pieces.
Right. I blunder. I managed to blunder, of course. I always manage to blunder in every position. This is my specialty.
Oh, don't even start this when you're doing commentary with me.
Yeah, we are all experts, I believe, in this.
Oh, yes. I don't know if you know the game have to take or first off the board. Like whenever your opponent gives a piece, you have to take it.
Right.
I'm so good at that game.
We call it in Spanish come, eat. So.
Okay, but Ilan Parti really going down on time here. Also has to be careful not to actually lose this position.
Exactly, only 20 seconds, and it is extremely complicated to say a move here with the black pieces. 95, well, Ilan Parti, maybe.
Wow.
Well, I think this is very interesting. So she just wants to centralize the
queen takes, and then the knight and the bishop are hanging at the same time.
What's going on here? Maybe.
Okay, do we see a draw?
Maybe a repetition, a crazy repetition. Knight f6. King h8 is very interesting here, but maybe queen c8.
Oh, that's looking dangerous. Then king g7 and knight
e8,
king
knight e8.
h6. Then taking on e5 would be a check.
Exactly. Yes. So 6
and if
seconds
knight
for
e8
Mishra.
here, what happens if you go king h8? Oh, he does take.
Took, and now queen e5, bishop d4. What's going on here? Bishop c5, I believe the only move.
Oh.
Knight e4.
Knight
f5.
Good.
Wow, nice fork. And I guess queen a1 and takes.
Queen a1. There's still a check. Oh, that's one to miss. But okay, now, still threats with bishop e5.
Exactly, 15 seconds. Not easy at all in this position. Maybe king f7
definitely.
Here.
Oh, that looks so dangerous. Queen takes ace2. Aren't you?
Queen takes a2. What is this
checkmate?
Queen
What's
doing
going
over
on?
there?
Queen f6.
Queen f6, queen b3.
And I go to h.
And then king f7, the king escapes.
Take on h7.
Only 3 seconds for Mishra.
He does go to h8, takes on h7.
And then g6.
And then the king has to go somewhere. King e6.
Oh, king g8.
King g8. No. Manager. Okay, wait, it's a lot of pawns and a bishop there.
You think black can resist here?
Well,
I don't think so.
Probably not, but you can always try.
Exactly.
That was queen g8. That was so sneaky. My goodness. Oof.
Well, this has to be
okay.
game
I
over,
mean, I would still be a little bit scared if I was white. I'm not gonna lie, but queen c2 does seem to get the job done.
Yeah. Now the bishop is just hanging on c5. And,
yeah.
And after e2, just king f2 probably, and you can even put the queen on e1 and then improve the king and stuff like that, and it's done.
It is indeed done for now. Yeah, you can't take on a3 actually, but I guess bishop f3 here. Oh, bishop f3, a2. King g1, bringing the king.
Yeah, I think you can just put your queen on c1 if you want, or c3. Just cover these 2 squares. Once you have bring the king to f2, this pawn will be under attack. So.
Wow. Incredible by Mishra actually managing to keep cool in that position. that is quite insane if you ask me. Just not throwing it all away. Can you take on c6 here with white? No, I didn't want to.
Well, I think you can, but also I think Mishra just wants to, take on e2.
Yeah, D4. Just get that pawn away. Seems a little bit more important. Maybe he's even trying to checkmate in this position. H4 in this position? No, okay.
H4
just taking.
For Queen H8.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's maybe time to resign. Do you want to go to the last game between Erasmus and Candela?
Candela. Well, Candela is winning.
Okay.
Once again.
This
now
is
this time,
great.
Let's see if no tricks as in the previous game where she blundered the whole rook. Queen D2.
Oh, yes. But I guess something like Queen G3 and H3 here is just gonna pick apart the white pawns.
Yes. Well, careful with Rook G7 trick.
Oh!
And Rook H7.
No! Don't follow my advice. Never follow my advice.
Poor Candela. Yeah, she was winning once again. It's your fault, Ellen. Yeah.
This is exactly what I would have done.
It's your fault.
Oh no. Wow, that's beautiful though. That's beautiful. King takes G7, Knight F5, and then the Queen on G3 is hanging, and there's no way for the King to get out of those checks.
Exactly.
Wow.
Well, chess is so tough. You can play a perfect game, then you just don't focus for a second, and then you ruin everything. So the round is over, and we have that here. I can see that Basanabala beat Anastasia, then draw versus Erdomus and Candela. Ilan Party lost versus Mishra. Varat won versus Sahiti. Pranav beat Fan Forest, and Gurel lost versus Samunenkov. And finally, Schneider, Ilan from Argentina, he beat Gulenay Aydin. So I think after this round 3, we do have a guest that should be coming very soon, Daniel Weisfart from the Magnus Academy. I don't know, Pablo is here.
Yes, I think we are about to have him here on the channel.
I think we cannot hear you. I think you have to unmute.
I'm here. Hey guys.
Hi Dan.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you. So Daniel, it's great to have you here on the show of the broadcast. Can you please, just for our viewers, tell a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing with the Magnus Chess Academy?
Sure. So my name is Daniel Weiswarth. I'm the COO at Magnus Chess Academy, and I've been teaching chess and setting up chess programs and running tournaments for kids in the US for almost 15 years now with my brother Adam. And we started working with Magnus a little over a year ago, and changed the name from Silver Knights to the Magnus Academy so that we could teach chess to even more kids.
By the way, I think that we are currently waiting to have the graphics of the three of us on the screen. Probably it will show very, very, very shortly so that we can also get a face on the name here on the stream. But yeah, the Magnus Chess Academy. So you're hosting a lot of training for kids. You have some in-person chess clubs. You have some online academy. How did you come up with this idea?
Sure. So we do after-school clubs at about probably something like 350 schools each week, and then we do online programs for a bunch more kids. And we're just lifelong chess players who've been playing in tournaments since we were little. If you go to our website, there's a cute picture of us as when my brother was probably 9 and I'm about 3, and he's trying to teach me to play.
Oh, that's so cute.
And so, we've just been doing it our whole lives. And kind of when we finished college, it seemed like a great thing to do to kind of share that fun with kids. I was excited to join after such exciting finishes in those games.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
I was about to ask you if you were following the games.
I saw the last couple. So I like the rook g6, rook h6 tactic to
amazing.
to save a to save a probably losing position. Maybe there was a fortress there, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it looked pretty good for white for sure. You're a pretty capable chess player yourself, so do you want to go through some of the games with us and give us your insights? Do you play a lot of online blitz yourself?
So I'm rated a little over 2,000 USCF, so like 1,900 or something FIDE. I'm not a big blitz player. I'm like a little on the old side now, and my brain has slowed down.
It's happening to all of us.
At some point, like I play bits and pieces, but not a ton. I don't think I would do well in this tournament.
Well, I can relate to you on that one. I don't think I would do well in this tournament either. These youngsters, they are really just so strong. And here in front of us, we are seeing the game between Pranav and Ihor. So a Karo Khan, I guess we see from this position. Are you a Karo Khan player yourself? Or E4 maybe? I don't.
I'm an E4 player. I'm not a
aggressive.
I'm not a Karo Khan player as black. I don't know if I should tell all my secrets while I'm on a broadcast with a lot of people watching. But I did a lesson with a really good coach when I was like 6 years old on the French defense. And I was like, all right, I'll just do this for the rest of my life. And I haven't really looked back. So,
yeah, it happened to me as the same. I was a Philidor player for 20 years and I was not changing. But these days, when all these people have this stockfish and stuff like that, it's always a good idea to change from time to time. Yeah.
If people are preparing specifically for you, that gets a lot more challenging, and you probably have to be more flexible.
That's right. So what do you guys think about this position? So if white manages to do f5, then it's game over, but it's not easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm a natural born French player myself. So here, the f6 move is really looking nice to me. But I have to say, even though I play the French, and even though I'm so used to people just throwing their pawns at me, I just got so scared each and every single time. So also here with black, I would probably just be very scared. How about you, Daniel? How do you feel about this position?
I'm trying to think a little bit how you would get counterplay here as black. And maybe it's like, should black be trying to trade things off and this is a good endgame setup for black?
That's right. I would trade on f1 and then bring the other rook. Then the bishop can come back to e8, and black is kind of solid. I wanted to ask you, Daniel. So you do a lot of online programs, but do you do something in real life as well? I mean, some training camps, some tournaments. In which cities people can contact you, for example?
Sure. So right now we have programs in kind of the Washington, D.C. area and the Baltimore area. Okay. And then also in the Phoenix, Arizona area. And probably over the course of the next year or two, if people we're going to add other areas. And we're kind of working on that now. So if people are interested, they're welcome to send us an email. We have a little form you can fill out on the website. And we're definitely working on adding more in-person programs. We also teach a lot of classes online. And kind of the skill level on those is we have some beginners, but mostly they're for kids who are at least, let's say, intermediate chess players. And then kind of the highest rated students in our program now are about 2,000.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the nice things,
great teachers.
We do a good job. And then one of the things that's been fun with the online programs is it let us keep teaching kids as they got more advanced more easily, because it's just easier to get a group of our advanced students together in the same room if not everybody has to drive. And it let us bring in to teach those like I'm not really doing that much with the kids who are like 1,800 or 2,000, because I'd hope not to lose to them in tournaments. But it let us bring in Johan Helston, who's a grandmaster and a really good teacher, and so he can teach those classes.
How's the situation in chess in the US after the pandemic? It actually you got a lot of students, new students, because after this series, Queen's Gambit, and also pandemic, at least in Europe, a lot of people came to our game. So how's the situation there?
I think Queen's Gambit, we just triggered a lot of interest, and I sort of feel like that's maybe waned a little bit. But particularly for in-person programs, I think there's just a lot of people who are really excited to be back out in the world doing stuff, particularly like 7 and 8 year olds. Because it varies a little bit from place to place here, but a lot of the schools were shut down for like 18 months. And those kids are really excited to be back at school playing chess in person with their friends.
That's right. So some more moves have been played in this game, and I think this is very risky for White because of the structure, right? So basically, any endgame would be very, very risky. The pawn on g5 could be extremely weak. Also, the black king can be activated easily by h7 and g6. But of course, still the queens are on the board, right?
So should White have tried to avoid trading light square bishops there?
Yeah, that would be a reasonable option, right? Something? Bishop d3. That's right. Yeah. So I will avoid here with the white pieces, mainly trading queens. I think if we trade queens here, I think black is much better. King f7, king g6, king f5. The pawn on d4 is extremely weak. Knight a5, knight c4. So. But if you have the queens on the board, well, e6 is always a weakness, and also you have ideas with g6, queen h7. If the black queen doesn't control the g6 square, so I think white's still fine.
And maybe white can get play against the black king if white can get g6, but g6 looks hard. Okay, yeah, g6 very hard. No. Huh.
So the thing I would be a little bit worried about here if I were playing with the black pieces, like some queen g4 and knight e6, and suddenly the pawn on e6 is hanging. But I guess we have to prepare that because queen b1 might be on taps as well. I'm not sure.
Well, knight f4, queen b1 check. I think you can play king h2, and after queen b2, maybe just
king g3.
And then suddenly
e6 will be hanging, yeah?
That's right. Then suddenly e6, and also this g6 idea that Daniel mentioned before.
Oh yeah, that could look very dangerous. So what does black do after queen g4?
Good question. Yeah, so after knight f4, maybe you take on g5 and then play queen f5. That's maybe the most solid approach here for black.
Yeah.
So not.
But now king f2, trying to step out of the check, threatening knight f4 in this position, perhaps. But how does or maybe because knight f4, there's still queen c2 check.
That's
at least giving black a little bit of time.
Yes, and then also there are also ideas with knight f5 coming. For example, you go to g3 with the king, so the white king could be in danger as well. So it's a very complicated position now.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to sit with this position if I had only 2 minutes left on my clock. Yeah, so knight f4 was played. Probably queen c2 is only move because queen g5 is way too dangerous here.
Yeah, queen f5, you just trade, and black has to take with the e pawn, and then you get a protected pass pawn on e5. So that's not a good business. And basically, you have a nice maneuver, bishop d2, bishop b4, and then you take the d5 pawn after trading on e7. So.
Yeah.
So yes, queen c2 only move.
And it has been played. Now, if we go to f3 with the king, or is it knight f5? Yeah? Queen e4 is also an annoying check.
Or knight f5, as you said, followed by queen e4, yeah? And, well, now you can maybe play... Maybe you can play now queen f5, because after queen takes, you can take with the knight, given the fact that now the bishop on e3 is hanging. So that's right.
Okay, that looks pretty nice.
And of course, I think you have a repetition with black, like with queen b1, queen c2, all the time. And
if you play queen f5, you do it with the check on c2.
Right. And this is what you can, overpress with the white pieces. Like he's higher rated after queen c2. Maybe he wants to push with king f3, and then I think black could be even winning after king f3. Yeah, after this idea you mentioned, knight f5 followed by queen e4. Because you want to win the game when your opponent has only 8 seconds in the clock.
If I were white, I would be trying to keep this game going.
Right, and he did, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, he's also the only player with 3 out of 3. Starting with 4 out of 4 wouldn't be the worst. And he's trying to press now, bringing the knight back from f4 to e2.
1 second for Samonenkov, yeah? Wow.
Oh, he has to play quickly. Okay, so they traded. Now Pranav is hoping to win this endgame. Can you go g6? Just making sure that pawn goes to a light square, not blocking the bishop.
I guess that's a move, yeah.
Bishop d2, hangs the pawn on d4. That was how my sentence was going to continue. Okay, but maybe there are some ideas with it now, because there was some bishop b4 check and king d3 with the pawn on e6. But king d7 is a nice move here, stepping out of all that.
Well, now you want to play bishop g5 probably.
And
but
that knight on f5 is looking so beautiful. That just gives me so much throwback to playing the French defense with the knight on f5.
And now the big threat is bishop c1, yeah? Bishop c1, so that's why he played a4, so not to lose a pawn after bishop c1.
But bishop c1 and bishop b2 can also become dangerous. Why move the knight? Why move the knight?
Yeah, I think he's playing very, very solid, yeah? He just wants to trade the g-pawns and then try to make a draw, yeah?
Yeah, it's understandable with no time on the clock. I was just so in love with that knight.
He might also be like, well, 3 seconds and that looks okay, so.
Yeah.
It's like the little clock ticking down that, yeah.
Well,
this looks hard for anyone to win unless there's a blunder.
Well, you never know. With 3 seconds on the clock, I have done terrible things in my chess games for sure. So,
well, Daniel, I'm just reading in your website now that you have more than 100,000 kids trained all over the world, more than 10 countries, more than 25 states. That's quite impressive.
You know, so that's over our history. So we've been doing it for about 15 years. So we've had about 100,000 kids go through our programs, and we have in the online program in particular, almost all of the kids are from the US, but we have a few from in other countries. And then we have kids from a bunch of different states. I think we're over 30 states now. Somewhere I have a list, and if somebody signs up from a state where I don't think we've had someone, I'm like, let's check the list if I get to add one. So
sure.
We have most of the big states, but there's some little states where we have not had students yet.
It's I think it's all in English, right?
Yeah. We have a number of instructors who speak other languages, but we just do things in English.
That's right. That's right.
So can I ask, what are your goals, your ideals? Wow, sorry.
What?
Yeah.
Just went nuts, yeah? Trying to
he
win
really
this game.
wants to win.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I feel like there's a decent chance that we learn if Ihor can do the knight and bishop checkmate with 3 seconds on the clock. Which feels like a good drill.
Yeah, definitely. But now knight a6, knight b4 would be attacking the pawn on d5.
So he cannot take the pawn on d4, of
because
course,
of
because
knight
of knight
e6,
e6, yeah?
I mean, of course it's winning for black, but it's not so easy.
It's not easy, yeah? You play knight b3, you protect the d4 pawn, and then you have to beat me there. Yeah, it's not...
Yeah, and you have to be careful because suddenly white has 2 passed pawns. And
yeah, and now how do you proceed here?
Knight c5 and back to b3.
Yeah, yes.
That's at least...
I didn't like this move, e6. I didn't like this move because now it's easier for black to attack something, yeah, this pawn on e6.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like he's really pushing.
But okay, he managed to
but
save
taking
the
on
game.
d4.
Yeah,
now...
wow.
Oof. I would also be scared with black here after having messed up like that.
I think they are gonna finally make the. No, he keeps playing. Yeah.
No. Of course, Pranav is gonna keep playing.
He's really
fighter,
working
yeah?
for this.
Yeah, he definitely is.
He's a good fighter. Now only 6 seconds for our friend from Ukraine. A6. Now the threat is B6 and A7. So.
He's really pushing. Maybe he wants to because in the last challengers, Yesipenko, he scored, what was it? Did he score 17 out of 18 or something? Maybe Pranav, he wants to go 100%.
Wow, B6.
Oh, B6 ends it now, yeah?
Go.
B6 wins. The bar went crazy.
Yeah, 98 B7 is winning.
He's too far.
I would play King D2 here.
That's a trick, I guess. But
yeah.
You could even take the pawn on D4, and now you just take it. Well, you don't need it. 96 just wins immediately.
Oh, 96
is beautiful. Or 97, yeah? Both works.
Yeah.
Oh, and he goes for 97. Wow. But yeah, Daniel, just to finish my question, I was wondering what your goals and if you had any future plans or ideas for the Magnus Chess Academy were.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of our big focus is just on teaching lots and lots of kids chess. And if you think about like chess players as a funnel, where you start off with like 8-year-olds learning the rules or 7-year-olds, and then you go down a little further and it's somebody playing a scholastic tournament, and you kind of keep going down the funnel, and the young players in this tournament are pretty close to the bottom. Maybe Magnus is the very bottom of that funnel. We're mostly focused on players closer to the top, and so I'd really like it for us to teach more students next year than we taught this year, and to just keep growing the program and just keep bringing chess to more kids.
Oh, that sounds amazing for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, Daniel, so we don't want to take more time from you. And it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for all you're doing with the kids. And
it sounds amazing.
All right. Thank you guys so much. It was a total pleasure. I was glad that we got to watch such an exciting endgame as well.
That was insane. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care, Daniel. Okay, guys.
Okay. The game between Candela and Mishra actually just finished in a draw. Mishra really not having the best start to the tournament here, only scoring. Oh yes, he did win the previous game, so he's actually on 50% now, but still probably a little bit unsatisfied with how it went just now. But I have to say, that win by Pranav. And you could also, I don't know if you saw, but I was watching the cams, and Ihor looked devastated. He looked completely crushed.
Yeah,
but I mean, sometimes when you just keep on pushing your opponent, trying to make them find ways to actually win the game, and he really showed some resilience in this game, Pranav.
Yeah, but this is the spirit, this is the way you improve. Keep playing, keep trying to win, keep improving, right? So this is why, when my students, they want to make like quick draws or something, I always tell them, you should play, this is the way you learn, of course you're gonna lose a lot of games, but this is a way to proceed, yeah? And Pranav showed an extremely amazing fighting spirit, and I love that.
Yeah, I actually did. I was teaching some girls chess on a Saturday for 6 hours. And I think I spent 3 of the 6 hours telling the girls, do not make draws. Just do not do it. So, yeah, it's really important to just keep on playing, keep on trying. You will make mistakes, but that is what will make you stronger.
And
I think we're actually already off with the next round. We're already in round 5.
So what do you want to see?
5. Oh,
5.
Yes. Round 5. Time is moving so quickly. Okay, let's take Schneider maybe. Schneider made a comeback, winning the 3rd round, and then had a bye. So maybe we will see the start of something new here against Gurel Edis from Turkey.
And by the way, the first 3 players leading the tournament, 3 Indians. Pranav, Bharat, and Ilan Party. 12 out of 12, 10 out of 12, and 9 out of 12.
Well, it is new times in chess, and the Indians, they seem to really be showing the way these days.
Yeah.
But we don't seem to have a move from Gorel yet, so I don't know if we should try to
Well, maybe.
switch quickly.
Are you there?
maybe.
This now he's already
okay.
here. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. E6. Okay, never mind.
So you play Najdorf or Dragon or?
Well, I love to see the Najdorf or the Dragon because
Okay.
I don't know much about this, but that's at least where I know a little bit.
Okay. Oh, this
Okay,
Queen D3.
That's a little bit popular these days. I remember some games in Tata Steel where Queen D3 was played. But that was
nice
of
idea.
course against Najdorf.
Versus the Taimanov, and basically in many variations, these queens
They
land
just put the queen on D3.
on G3.
Mhm.
Exactly. Then these endgames are considered to be a little bit better for white. Of course, not in this position, right? Because there's knight and G4 hanging. But now after Queen B8, for example, Queen G3 is a move.
I have
And
a
if you-
question.
Yes.
Wasn't this the variation that was played between Koana and Giri in the Candidates Tournament 2020, where Koana lost the game and had to win?
I have no idea. Ellen.
I just
have to be
remember it was a
honest with you.
Taimanov and Koana got the queen to G3, but then seemed to overpress or something. Maybe we have someone in the chat who can tell me because I'm a little bit curious. So of course
Our
we are reading
users
all the chats.
Are very wise. So please, guys, tell us if this is what Ellen says. This guy from the candidates. And black played D6 because if you take on G3, then C7 suffers a lot. So that's why you cannot take and then play D6. And now, well, usually white wants to go long castle in this position. So black wants to play A6, and you cannot retreat this knight to D4. You will have to go to A3. So that's why usually the best move here is bishop E3. So you can come back to D4, right?
Okay, I see. That makes a lot of sense.
And then you play bishop F4, which makes some sense as well because you wanna take this pawn and then maybe force E5. Then the problem is knight H5, of course, and then you give up you lose the bishop pair with the white pieces.
And okay, knight 6 D6 doesn't work because the rook at H1 is hanging. So bishop E3 is played, finding the right move in that position.
And well, I guess now A6 is the most natural move because otherwise after long castle, then D6 is already suffering. And you don't want to play E5. You don't want to play knight E5. These moves, well, strategically are not very accurate. So A6, and then this pawn is not suffering anymore. Yeah.
Do you want to trade the knight on D4 as black, trading a few pieces when you don't have much space?
Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I will wait. So for white to trade this piece, so I can improve my structure. But,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, sometimes it's a natural reaction as well in the Sicilian. Yeah, knight takes D4 followed by E5, for example.
If you're black, how are you going to develop? Like, are you actually just going to play bishop E7 and let white take the pawn on G7, rook G8?
That's a very interesting idea, just to give up the G7 pawn, because later on you captured the G2 pawn. And, well, you can always delay this development on the king side. You can try moves like H5, H4 to make this queen uncomfortable on G3. And you can always play on the queen side by playing these moves. Queen C7 back, rook C8. B4 is now a threat, of course, because E4 is hanging. So you gotta decide here. You play A3, you play F3. I will play A3 here probably, or even bishop D3 as well. Sorry guys for so many arrows.
Yeah, this is
like
I love to see arrows. I make so many of them myself. Well, it's I think this is looking very, very sharp already. But I preferred your A3 move, but that's just because I know that usually in the Sicilian, people, they just always play A3. Like these days, you just play A3, like pretty much no matter the position. Because allowing this B4, giving white this space, misplacing the knight, usually the knight is very good on C3, so that black will also have a more difficult time playing E5 because of the D5 square. But now, like, you never know. This knight on D1, where is it going? And be careful if black is ever going to play E5, D5 and create a lot of activity.
Of course, this d5 reaction is very natural now since there's no knight controlling the square. So d5 is a move. Knight takes d4 followed by e5, as you said before, is a move. h5 is a possibility. Bishop e7. So black has a lot of decent options right now.
But maybe that's also one of the dangers, having many decent options, but does go for knight 6 d4 and e5. But the bishop has to move. I'm loving this for black. I really am. Like all the space, like it's getting much more free for black, and yeah.
Yes, and the point is after bishop e3, if black is gonna play bishop e7 or not, yeah, because otherwise if you give up, you give white some time to finish development, and then you are not developing anything here on the king side, then white could end up being much better here. Let's say bishop d3, knight f2, short castle, and you do nothing.
Yeah, I love bishop e7. Taking that pawn on g7 to me really looks like you're playing with fire, just allowing black to go rook g8, maybe taking on g2, maybe not. Rook g6 first. This is French stuff where you allow your opponent to take on g7.
Right.
So here I can follow along.
Right. So I guess it's very risky, yes, to take on g7, but otherwise black after short castle is perfectly fine. Black has completed development. Black is ready to push d5 in the center. So maybe black has an edge already in this position. I don't know.
I think it could very well be. Also, just the play seems much easier for black. Though white has clear-cut plans like just getting the pieces to better squares, but finding out which are actually the better squares is a little bit difficult. Of course, the bishop on e2 is very nicely placed on c4, controlling the a2 g8 diagonal. Okay, playing h4. I like this. Trying to play h5. This is looking nice.
Yeah, so for example, after short castle here, which is natural, you will h5.
Yeah, just push it down the
suddenly, yeah, you push all the
Simon
way down
Williams would be proud.
Yeah, Harry, yeah? He calls h pawn Harry.
So what is black supposed to play in this position? It's looking a little bit not scary, I would say, but at least white is trying to do something practical in this position.
That's right. Yeah, this h4 is very, very interesting. Queen c7 is being played. Now, because before I was thinking about this, in this position, I was thinking about c4 in order to stop black's d5 reaction. But the problem after c4 is that after taking on passant, I cannot take with the knight since the b2 pawn is hanging. But this is, of course, not the case when the queen is on c7, because now I can take simply with the knight. Yeah, so that's why c4 is being played. I think it's a very, very good move here.
I think that's actually very instructive, trying to figure out what a piece is doing on one square, what it's preventing. And then when it moves to another square, do you have some ideas that work in the position that wasn't working before? Because what you just showed looks really great to me with the pawn on c4, black never being able to play d5. I love it. And now after knight h5, you can never take en passant. So that pawn will just stay on c4.
Exactly. And then as you say, d5 will not be possible in the rest of the game. So I guess queen f2 or queen h2, and then at some point black is gonna land this knight on f4, even sacrificing the pawn, because okay, you lose a pawn, but then the dark squares are extremely weak in white's position. This bishop on f6 and this diagonal, the queen on c5. So after g4, there's no doubt that the move is knight f4 here, and we have to see if this is enough, if there's enough compensation for black. I believe there is enough. Bishop f6, bishop e5, rook c8.
And what you also have to be a little bit careful about with white, I was actually going to say this b3 move, you have to be a little bit careful with, because now plans like a5 and a4, when white is so misplaced with the knight on d1, it can actually look, having to play knight b2, it can look quite dangerous. I see ideas with bishop d7 at some point, even though it just went to e6 to try to push this a4. It's I didn't like b3 actually. I thought if white could avoid it, then just not play with the pawn, because it really gives black a nice plan with a5, a4.
I understand that you solved your instantaneous problem. Yeah, you want to forget about the c4 pawn, but as you say, you give this break point on a4, and then you'll have problems later. Yeah. So
yeah, for sure, definitely. And also, I have a question. Like, is White ever going to castle? It's been 19 moves. It's actually Black castled on the 20th move. Is White going to castle on the 21st? Because they just don't want their kings to safety.
Yeah, maybe it's now time for White to castle, but no, G4 can play.
See, I don't know if White will ever castle. Maybe the king will just go to F2. Who knows? F2 and G3. Ah, okay. The bishop on F6 will be strong.
I think bishop F6. Sorry, one second. Somebody's ringing my
and
my home. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
We actually have a result already in this round. Ilan Parthi did beat Van Verriest. She started well. She won her first game, but unfortunately losing the next 3. But that also means that Ilan Parthi, even though losing that game to Mishra, unfortunately, then now going to it's 4 out of 5. Very impressive. The position we have in front of us, I am starting to enjoy the black position more and more. That pawn is going down the board to A4. The rook on B1, having to protect the knight on B2, does look a little bit strange. Knight A4 seems like a fine move because now at least A5 is stopped, but bishop D7 does come with a kind of tempo, I guess.
Yeah, and I like this queen on A7, so stopping White from castling. This diagonal is extremely nice.
And, King F1. King F1, I'm just saying I called it. No castling from White. King G2. That king is not going like just not casting.
It's kind of safe on G2 already. So once again,
for sure.
The bishop pair is very nice. The dark squares are very nice, but a pawn is a pawn, right?
Yes.
So and the move that I don't want to play is G5 because after the bishop moves, then F6, then black can open easily lines on the F file, and then this king could be in trouble. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I love that.
I actually prefer this the way Ilya played. Yeah, just trying to put the bishop on F3 and then trying to resist in this position. But he's going all in H5. And
I think that's what you have to do in this position. And with 9 seconds on the clock, we have to notice that as well. Trying to start a mating attack, but those mating attacks, they can be lethal.
Exactly. And it's not easy because after H6, you just close the position. With G6 and the king on H8 is going to be extremely safe, yeah?
And that dark squared bishop is really working wonders. Also, I just want to mention Pranav with 5 out of 5 so far. Really working hard to beat Yesipenko from the last Challengers Tour.
That's right. So,
but it's painful to see Schneider with only playing
5 seconds,
in this position, yeah? Oof.
2 seconds, 1 second, and it's tough, yeah? Now...
it really is. And 80s just keeps on playing fast, trying to put pressure on his opponent.
Maybe queen b7 and then put pressure against the e4 pawn is a good idea here.
Is this trying to get the rook to f6?
Yeah, rook f6.
But maybe g5 then.
Maybe g5. So maybe first the queen to g5 or something. Okay, finally this knight has a life,
was very nice. But I have to say, I'm also loving how black is just handling this position, keeping the time pressure, placing the pieces on nice squares.
Yeah, but I have to say I didn't like this queen come to e7 maybe because suddenly this knight is arriving to d5 and then we can reach some sort of opposite colored bishop position where it's not, well, white will have for sure some decent drawing chances, yeah?
Yeah, it is opposite colored bishops after all.
Queen h4. And yes, you cannot trade queens, I believe. If you want to keep putting pressure. Yeah, exactly.
And look at that pawn on a5 all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're repeating now.
Oh.
And as you say, if you trade queens, the pawn on a5 is actually hanging, so.
Yeah, and suddenly white would be the one. Okay, it keeps on playing in this position. Very understandable. Wants to keep up the pressure, but have to be a little bit careful, I have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, c5 here with the queen on d7. How is that?
c5 is actually very natural. a4, I think it's
c5 again. Like the queen
h4.
on d7 Ooh.
And now I like queen a7, yeah?
Ah,
Penetrating
yes.
here along.
Yeah, that looks.
There we
Oh,
go.
and of course finds it.
And b3 is suddenly weak, so that's why rook d3 has been played.
Mhm.
How to proceed? Rook e6, rook f6, maybe?
Just getting the other rook to f6 as well. Okay, bishop
Bishop
c3.
c3.
Keeping or getting.
Wow.
Aha, wait, what happened to the pawn now? Queen a2, queen b3 is the idea.
Queen a2, queen b3 is the idea. The rook on f4 is doing a great job covering f7, but queen e3 is being played. Queen
Oh,
f2.
but queen f2, what a nice defensive move.
Exactly, and then you have to, I mean, you have to trade queens here.
Whoa! Rook takes
Rook
e4. What is going on in this position? But does white end up a pawn more? Wait, the h6 pawn might be falling. But
Yeah.
now it's definitely
Wow, g5 just wins,
no,
yeah?
the rook,
g5
the
and
rook
bishop
on
g4.
f4.
g5 and bishop g4 just wins immediately.
Oh no, the rook on f4.
Now bishop f5, there is no discovered check. And king g4, king h4.
Gurel was pushing for so long, but then missed this. Oh, the rook on f4.
Well, still you have to.
But that c
work.
pawn is just running so quickly, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. c5, c6. I would like moves like rook d5.
Mm-hmm.
This is nice, yeah, because you trade rooks.
Yes.
If black captures.
But
And
now that
rook
pawn
d7
goes
or rook
f7.
f7.
And now also trying to
Rook
get the rook
d8.
to d8 and g8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pushed too hard in that game, and it actually is also our last finishing game. No draws in this round. Wait, no, it's not the last game. Mishra is still playing. That would be a draw as well.
Let
A
me
well-known opposite-colored bishop endgame.
Mishra. Yeah, this is a dead draw.
Yeah, there's
So-
no way for black to get
That's
in. There's a very nice blockade on the dark squares here.
Exactly. Just move the bishop. If the king comes to f3, you just change diagonal and then just stay here. So basically here you just have to stop c3, and the king is on f3, you just have to stop e3, which is very easy. And of course, player like Mishra knows how to defend this position, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Could do it with his eyes closed, and we do see a draw. I think so far there's been one draw per round, except for round number 1, where all games... No, 2 draws in round 4, sorry. Okay, a very interesting 5th round. Incredible, with Pranav going to 5 out of 5. Just keeping on pressuring his opponents.
Right,
And then
so
we
what do we have in
also-
the next round?
What do we have in the next round? Let's see. Pranav against Schneider. And I like the match of Lu against Mishra. Lu, she did start well, but just lost the game, and now playing against Mishra, who hasn't been having the best tournament so far, is still on 50%. Probably hoped for quite a bit more, being the by far highest rated player in the tournament. But there's also an interesting matchup between the 2 Indian girls, Wasnabala and Sahiti.
So you decide, Ellen, what do we follow in this round?
I decide, then it's
Your call.
but there are so many good options. Okay, no, then I'm gonna go with, I know I said the other ones, but I'm gonna go with Ilan Parthi against Samunenkov, because Ilan Parthi is actually trailing Pranav on 4 out of 5, and Samunenkov is in 4th place and could catch up with Ilan Parthi with a win in this game. So I think that's a very important game for the tournament.
Whoa, so we have a King's Indian with reversed colors, yeah?
Yeah, this is I actually tend to like these positions for black, when you get the pawns to e5 and d5. Because white didn't play anything to stop this. So I would play d4 in this position, just getting some space.
Yeah, this is just a King's Indian, yeah? With a tempo up, of course, for white. Yeah, so a4, so you guarantee the c4 output for the knight, which is a nice square. And of course, black has different options here. You can play very aggressively with the move h5 in order to proceed h4, g5 even. But of course, you can play knight f6. And
yeah, if this was with reversed colors, I believe bishop g4 is also a move. The Averbach variation. But there, white hasn't pushed e5. I'm not entirely sure, but h5, we do see it on the board, just going directly. Will he play h4 now? Maybe even g5, as you said. This could be interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. g5, and after knight c4, just play f6. Or maybe, yes, knight c4. Sorry, in this position, you go g5, knight c4, you play f6. But okay, he went h4, knight c4, takes. Now e5 is under attack, so I believe queen c7 is the most reasonable option here, or f6.
But probably Lamparty is still in prep, yeah? Having gained so much time on the clock, I would suspect that if you see a move like h5, h4 without knowing it, you at least take a little bit of time to think.
Right. Do I stop it by playing h4? Do I stop it by playing h3? Or I just pass, yeah? But at least you spend some time, yeah, as you said.
Yeah.
So and, c3.
Just trying to open up a little bit in the center.
Makes sense, yeah? You want to capture on d4. If black captures with the pawn, then you have these b4 ideas in mind. Or you can bring the rook to the c file in order to look with x-rays to this queen on c7, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. So
bishop e6.
So okay, a question here. Let's say we give the move to black again. Will black ever take on c4?
That's a very good question. For me, it's very, very tough decision, and I think I won't do it. I wouldn't do it because giving up the bishop at the light squares, and then the knight on f3 can be regrouped to d3, which is a very nice blocking square. So I mean, at least to me, it would be very hard decision to take on c4.
Because when I get these type of positions, I just never know. I can never figure out, should I take the knight or shouldn't I do it? Because I'm also thinking about the dark squares on the queen side when I take the knight, like b4 and a5 and c5 are becoming a little bit more weak. But giving away that light squared bishop is just so beautiful, and especially in this position, I'm already looking at queen d7, bishop h3, takes, and checkmate on h1.
Yeah, exactly.
So
no, but I agree. This is the nice part of taking on c4 is that the dark squares, and also you get a protected pass pawn on d4. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised by this move, knight a3, but probably Lamparty just didn't like bishop takes c4, didn't find it nice.
Yeah, but this cannot be the way to proceed. Yeah, maybe if you don't like bishop takes c4, you can play b3, something like that. But for sure, knight a3 is not very accurate.
Yeah. How about playing a piece to b4 now?
A piece to b4, so let's say knight b4 or something like that.
Yeah, I can't figure out if it should be the knight or the bishop, but I was thinking, I'm just thinking about these dark squares. I don't want to allow any b4 later. Okay, but queen d7, I like this move also, just going for checkmate.
To me, like black is, black has a little bit of a space advantage, so I wouldn't trade a piece on b4. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So maybe just your plan. Yeah. Bishop h3. Of course, rook e1 has been played in order to reply with bishop h1. So bishop h3, basically, there's only one move, which is bishop h1.
How about bishop f1 here?
Bishop f1.
Okay, there's king. No, sorry, after bishop h1, bishop f1 That was what I was thinking. But there's king e2 in the end.
No, I just take it, because after queen h3, I have bishop g2.
The knight is protecting on h2, sorry.
But that's a very nice motif in different positions. I'm sure we have all solved this, some tactical puzzle with the bishop f8 or something in the accelerated dragon. Dragon.
I haven't solved the puzzle, but I've lost. Well, I didn't lose the game, but I fell for it in the game, and I was like, oof, I was very lucky to save that one. Rook c1, knight f7. Okay, so where's the knight going from f7 to d6? I guess just to stop any knight d5, knight c4.
Yes, it looks natural. This knight f7 to me. So as you say, knight d6 in order to control c4. And also g5 is
g5, g4, just push him.
Well, I'm not sure about g4 because then the knight arrives on h4.
And the bishop can't go to h3. This is what
exactly. Exactly, yeah. So, but g5 at least you stop because, for example, in this position, white could have played knight h4, I believe, and after g5, then knight f5. Same idea as we saw in the previous game, sacrificing a pawn for light squares, yeah.
Yeah, now, this is a very nice motive.
But okay, white is also trying to create some counterplay with moves like a6, queen a4, and then trying to put some pressure against the c6 knight.
But maybe in those positions, it's kind of nice to have the knight on d6 because sometimes you can reply to a6 with b5.
b5 as well could be an idea. But now maybe I liked your idea, knight b4, because if you take, of course I take, and then the a5 pawn is hanging because the rook has to be moved.
I like the arrows, by the way.
Yeah. It's so messy. It's so messy.
I also like this little maneuver, bishop h3, bishop g4, just misplacing the bishop on h1 a little bit, sometimes threatening rook takes h1.
That's very nice idea, as you mentioned, because now this is actually prophylaxis versus queen a4, since there's rook h1 followed by bishop f3. That's why bishop g2 has been played. What happened?
Okay, here? a6, so, just stopping your a6 idea. Okay, gave away the bishop actually to ruin white's structure. I was looking a little bit at it, but I didn't quite like it because I thought that maybe white gets some counterplay along the b file and giving away the bishop pair, as you said. The dark squares can become weak. The bishop can go to b4.
So suddenly, white has a decent play against b7, right? So, and it's not clear how to proceed in the attack because you're playing bishop h3, but then bishop h1, you're going back, but I go back. So never easy to make progress in these positions, yeah?
Yes, for sure. Like, are we ever going to castle with black? Or are we going to play king f8, king g7 like we saw in the last game also?
That's a possibility, yes. Because if you castle, of course, you're not going to mate me anymore. I want the h5.
Well, I was thinking more long side.
Long side.
But just to protect the pawn on b7, but it's very, very dangerous.
That's extremely risky, yeah? With a queen on b6, for example, there are ideas with rook c6, rook c1, if you take with the queen.
Yeah, so I guess we just never castling.
Actually, I think it's just, for example, in some position like this, let's say rook h7, some stupid move, rook c1, long castle, then maybe rook c6 just wins, yeah?
Oh.
So rook c1, if you take with the pawn, mate, yeah? Yes. So no, he went for your idea.
Yeah.
King f8. I like that. Queen d5.
Queen d5.
I want to try queens with the white pieces.
Yeah, for sure. I would at least be so scared about getting checkmate all the time with this bishop on g4 and the rook on the h file. And also it does bring the bishop on g2 to life a little bit more. After trading maybe knight e1, knight c2, knight b4, and the bishop can come to e2, e4, sorry. So yeah, I like queen d5 a lot. I like queen e8 also, avoiding the trade.
But suddenly some tactics, yeah? For example, after queen e7 or something like this, once again, rook c6 wins the game. So you're going to be extremely careful. That's why queen e8 and not queen e7 in this position.
Yeah. Or I guess queen c8 didn't work either because there was rook takes c6.
Queen c8
no, taking back. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, but it's not natural, right? To place the queen in front of the rook on c8.
Definitely, rook b6 maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
So queen e8, the game continues. The rook is well placed on b6 and e4 here only with 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds versus 2 minutes. So king g7, nice move. At some point, you can even think about queen g8 and queen h7, but I don't know if this helps because whenever you take on f3, then queen h2, then the king just escapes by f1 and e2.
You know what? I feel like whenever I play against someone who plays this g3, bishop g2, knight f3 setup, it's just impossible to checkmate them. And whenever I play the same setup, they just checkmate me every single time.
It's the story of my life as well.
Okay, but knight h2, trying to get the bishop away from g4, probably goes to e6, attacking the queen on d5.
Yeah, that makes sense, just winning a tempo. Bishop h3. Now you are actually on time to take, and then king g2. And then if queen g8, I can just play, I believe, knight to g4.
Oh, and actually does take that. It seems a little bit counterintuitive, but at the same time, the bishop on g2 was restricted so much by the pawns on d3 and d4. And if you're not getting checkmated, then it's a great option.
You are much better here if you're not checkmated, because you have full control on the light squares. And then you have a weakness here for the rest of the game. So knight g4, f3, rook b1, all these moves, or even without playing f3. Knight g4, stopping any kind of mate. And then rook b1, and let's see how you're going to protect this guy on b7. It's going to be extremely tough. You have ideas with queen b3 as well. A lot of tactics, rook a6, rook c6, bishop b4 coming.
Yeah, remember how I talked earlier about all the dark squared weaknesses on the queen side for white? They're just not there anymore, and white can protect them all so well with the dark squared bishop. I'm starting to love this for... but wait. The queen was so well placed on d5.
Yeah,
we don't want to get checkmated.
The point is, maybe queen c8 was a threat, right? And now, so that's why knight g4 after queen c8, you just play f3. Exactly.
And then how about some knight h6 stuff?
Knight h6?
Maybe that's a question for another day. There was some long variations, but Ihor with 4 seconds on the clock, I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah, extremely nice this move. Queen c8, and maybe this is actually forcing white to go rook h1. Otherwise,
just to protect the king.
Because if you go g4, then rook takes h2 followed by queen g4.
Queen g4, yeah, this is just made.
Exactly. So
and then knight on f7, actually making sure that rook b7 is not a check.
Right. Great. So knight f1 and then queen h3. This forces white to go king f3.
Oh, that is not something you want to play. And then after queen h5.
But he's got only 4 seconds, you know. King h5, queen h1, king e2. Wow. And then rook c6 wins. No, he didn't go for it.
Rook c6. Oh, rook c6. Oh, but knight f5 now is also looking beautiful.
Yeah. Knight f5, king g6.
Gorgeous.
Still don't see.
Queen g8. King
h8. And now rook c6 once again.
But rook c6 again. Oh, okay, what is going on?
He trapped the queen.
Okay, queen d5 is a nice move, bringing the queen in.
Rook h7, e6. Well, black
but they're playing with so little time.
Yeah, black has sort of protected everything. And it's not going to be easy for white to make any progress here.
Maybe bishop b4 to c5 to b6?
Yes. That's an interesting idea.
Just to try to get the knights away from each other? I actually...
basically, I don't see any other plan.
But I have to say, I didn't like this f3 move because I thought sometimes you want to keep those kind of moves in reserve. So, and I didn't see what black's threat ever was, like the pawn on g4 is never hanging. So I didn't quite see the idea. I like how black is getting coordinated now.
Yeah, but black is extremely well coordinated now, even maybe threatening to go rook c2 here. So that's why queen b1 was played.
And doing all of this with only 10 seconds left on the clock.
And the point is, you take on f4, I can take with the e-pawn, and the knight on e5 will do a great job.
Yeah, that will be very nice.
Maybe I can even I will even take black here, or maybe with a g-pawn, and then you have a fantastic square on
g5 square.
And then rook c3, exactly. Well, rook c2 now. The king has to go to the first rank.
Oh, but then rook c7.
Queen h4, rook c2. Rook c2 is the move. And now 96. What's going on here? G5. Crazy.
The knight takes g5. Pressure. The king runs to g4. What is
the
this?
white knight g5 was mate, actually. He took with the pawn.
Oh, he takes with the pawn. That's very interesting. Crazy. I would have taken with the knight for sure. What's going on?
Rook f7. Now the threat is maybe rook f8 or something.
But he could have just played rook c8 in
rook
one
c8,
move?
king g4, king g4.
And what is king g4? King g4, rook g2, king f5. Okay, I see.
King f5, that's why. Yeah, that's why now rook f8 was a threat, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That happened very quickly. Maybe we should show it a little bit slower afterwards. But what just happened was that white sacrificed a rook for the knight, but getting the queen activated, and now we have 2 rooks against the queen.
Well, but this king is trapped on the h file. So imagine a rook coming to h5. That would be the end. So basically, I think white will have to give a perpetual at some point.
I think, isn't that what white is trying? Or maybe white could have done that before.
Yeah, but now rook h8 is winning, actually. In the next move, you do nothing. So maybe queen e7 forcing king g8 is the only move. So it's not easy. So now rook g7 and rook h8 just wins. This is just winning. Very beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Rook h8 and wow. Rook g3, king g7, game over. 1 second. He's going to lose some time. Rook g6.
That is just so beautiful.
It's made in 2. It's
Come
made
on.
in 2.
No, will this be repeated?
Made in 2.
Is queen e6 third time? Queen e6 is third time. No, missing mate in 2. This is insane.
Rook g3 and king g7 was made. Let's just show for the audience. Bye-bye.
Oh, but... And just the fact that Ihor got to this playing only on increment, found all this rook g7, getting the rook to h8, and then not being able to finish it off, that just hurts my heart. Because that was so beautifully played. The way he just outplayed white there was insane.
You know, this is the problem of having 3 seconds in the clock all the time.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
that's a real shame.
At least for me, like when I'm down to 20 seconds in the clock, I just don't see anything. I mean, the board is so giant for me, you know. So I just play random moves, you know. So I completely understand that. Sometimes
we do still have a game though. Pranav trying to. I don't know if I want to say trying to win 6 games in a row, because this is not looking like a win for white. But is it looking like a win for black?
Well, you have these 2 pawns, you know, after capturing on g5. And this is going to happen very soon. King g5.
White actually won the g5 pawn. Okay, because I didn't think white was going to get it.
Yeah, the only side that can win this game is actually white, right? So.
But why didn't he take on g5? I don't understand. Maybe he saw some perpetual?
He hides from some checks this way, but at the end of the day, you have to... Well, they made a draw already, yeah?
Okay, yeah, this must be a 3-fold repetition. So Pranav not going to 6 out of 6, but 6.5, 5.5 out of 6. That is still pretty amazing. We see once again a lot of decisive results. 3 black wins, 2 white wins, and 2 draws. From what I can see, black has been doing pretty well in this tournament, actually.
So let me see the standings. Maybe we can show the standings, Pablo, if we have the option, just to show the people. Pranav is leading, then Ilan Party and Varat. They are both tied for the 2nd place. And remember, just the first one and the champion and the runner-up, they will qualify for the final 4. Remember, tomorrow we have an odd day, so this is not finishing today. Today, only the first 8 rounds. Then tomorrow, they'll play 7 more rounds, right? Had you been to Israel before?
Never in my life, actually.
Okay, so I'll be there in the final. I mean, in the match between Prague and the winner of this final 4. So I'm very excited about it because I've never been there.
Yeah, I've heard many good things about it. That sounds pretty amazing. So yeah, as you can see, here are the tour dates. Right now we're having the Magnus Academy Challenge, then the finals on the 29th and 30th of October, where Yesi Pengo, Sadwani, and the number 1 and 2 player from this tournament will be playing to play the final against Prague in Israel in December. But we actually already do have liftoff in round 7.
What do we follow, Ellen?
I actually noticed that Aydin Gulene Aydin, she has lost all of her games, so maybe we can watch her game to try to bring her a little bit of good luck.
Support. Yes.
Yes. She's playing against Ilan Parthi, so of course not an easy match at all. But let's see if we can try to bring her a little bit of good luck in this game.
Sure. She went for e4. Let's see how Ilan Parthi replies. Remember, only 2 more rounds to go today. What are you gonna do after this commentary, Ellen?
Oh, I'm gonna eat so much ice cream that you probably won't even recognize me tomorrow.
So no going out tonight?
Oh, no. It's too late and I'm too old for that kind of stuff.
Too old. How old are you? Like 23 or something? 22?
Oh, I'm 21 actually.
21? Oh, my bad.
We see a Najdorf. I'm so happy about this. F3 Najdorf.
F3, this is one of the most solid approaches. Actually, Magnus Carlsen used it against Karyakin in a game where he needed only a draw in this tie breaks in the World Championship. So it's pretty solid.
Okay, he played F3. I see.
Yeah.
Was this the Queen H6 game?
Maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, it could be. Yeah. So this is the Scheveningen or something like that, like it's
how
a Dutch
you pronounce
word.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've heard Gustafsson pronounce it a few times, and he does an excellent job.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's German, so he knows what he's doing. Not me. So I always like this kind of, let's say, King B1, Queen C7 sacrifices. Yeah, Bishop B5 and this kind of stuff. You know.
Oh, this is and all these Knight D5 things that can come on the board. These things are always so complicated. So let's see what happens. Gulene is taking a little bit of time here to figure out what she wants to play. And she goes for G4. Very aggressive. I like it. Just trying to checkmate Black before Black is even castled.
That's right.
It's a good spirit. How about, we talked earlier about how White always is supposed to play A3 just to stop B4. So I was wondering if you could have played A3.
Yeah, I understand it's not an easy move to make, because you're given this break point, and if Black manages to play B4, then the B file is opened, right? So at least to me, when I play this position, it's never an easy option for me. So
yeah, I understand it's not an easy option at all. What I've just heard is that even though you don't understand it, you just play A3.
You have to play.
That's what you do.
Yeah, that's right. Stockfish is playing you have to play A3 and then you go for it. I understand it. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, but I like what Black is doing here. B4 to get the knight away from C3, and then breaking in the center with D5 after White has opened up the position on the king side a little bit, making the bishop on B7 a real monster.
That's right. Yeah. So now maybe Queen A5. And if you have to play B3 there, then for sure something has gone wrong. Yeah, B3 you can play knight C5,
for sure.
And the C3 square is in real trouble. Yeah, so
that's
I don't know
already
what you play
looking very uncomfortable for Gulene here.
Maybe you have to go all in, something like Queen E1, Queen E4, Knight E6, just to make things complicated. Because B3 is the only human move here, actually. And then after Knight C5, it's clear that something has gone wrong, yeah?
Yeah, actually. But Knight C5, there's just no defense.
Defense. I think it's just winning for Black.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys over there in the chat, you see something different after Knight C5, but I think it's just winning for Black, yeah.
Yeah, you can't move the knight away from A4 because Knight C3 is not just winning the rook on D1, it's actually just checkmating pretty much.
Exactly. Let's say Knight C5, Knight C3, and then you have to sacrifice the queen. Otherwise, it's just made on A2 or A3 to go to C1. So I don't see a move.
No, and Ilan Parthi actually with 4 minutes and 54 seconds, not really having spent much time. Yeah, this is a real shame. Maybe we should just switch games because I don't see much that White can do in this position.
We did not bring her luck, Ellen.
No, I'm sorry.
Our fault.
I tried.
So should we go?
Yeah, let's take. We haven't looked a lot at Bharat's game. Was this a true? I'm afraid to say anything about these C5 things. They have so many different names. I can never switch around between them. So this opening, what was this?
Well, was some sort of Sicilian with queen takes d4, yeah. So and queen e3. But at the end, we have reached some sort of dragon typical position, yeah, with the bishop on g7, the semi-open file with the rook on c8.
Yeah, it looks like I always, when I teach my students, what I do is that the bishop on g7, I call it the dragon bishop.
The dragon
because,
bishop.
Yeah, and it's what's it called in English? Spears fire down the board from the h8 to a1 diagonal. It makes it very easy for them to remember, and then they just really want to put the bishop on g7 because it sounds really cool.
I think we all feel a little bit safer with a fianchetto bishop, yeah?
Yes, of course. So we have the octopus knight when it's in the center, and then we have the dragon bishop when it's fianchettoed.
Octopus knight and fianchetto bishop. By the way, Ellen, are you a chess professional, or you study something, or?
I'm studying economics and business administration.
Ooh, okay.
Yes, very fancy stuff.
DTU or?
No, DTU is only technical stuff.
Technical.
Engineers. Yeah, I'm studying at Copenhagen Business School.
Okay. I applied there for a PhD in DTU, but at the end I went to Hamburg in Germany. But it was my first plan to go to Denmark.
Oh, and, really?
Yeah, I went so many times because my best friend was living in Copenhagen. He was in DTU, and I was in Hamburg. I used to take this train with the boat and everything. It was so nice.
Yeah. I've also heard that DTU is a really nice place because it's pretty much just it's a little city of its own. DTU, pretty much.
Right.
But how are we supposed to reply to this d5 stuff when we're?
It's not easy because you cannot take because of knight takes d5 and then knight takes c3 and then you get the bishop pair. So e takes d5 is actually not possible. So what else? Maybe.
Do you ever go e5? Or are we just losing the pawn after knight d7? Knight e4?
Knight e4. I just want to capture this guy. And maybe bishop e1, but then knight e5, right? So.
Yeah. So
I completely understand why he is spending so much time in this position because there is no human reply right now. I see that the engine is saying knight fd4, something like that, but this is just stupid for a human because the pawn on e4 is hanging, right? But maybe there is a point after pawn takes and then bishop g4, maybe. But not easy, not an easy move to make over the board.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, but going down all the way to 1 minute, I would think that it's almost better to just take a bad position and then play a little bit faster. Because only 1 minute. Okay, he did take on d5 actually.
Okay.
Ended up taking.
Take on d5, takes on d5, and then knight takes d5 for sure. And knight takes c3. This is actually a pre-move.
Be careful. Bishop takes g7, then your knight takes c3 maybe. Into trouble.
Not the best option. But naturally, black is much better because you have this dragon bishop, as you say, and there's no opposition. And, of course, not the end of the world for white, but should be a nice edge for black.
Okay, putting the queen on g5. So, yeah, can we just take on c3 and claim a very nice position here?
I guess this is most natural move. Knight takes d3. And I don't know how to proceed now. Maybe just bring in a rook to the d file. Also, moves like bishop c3 could be considered. Because, of course, you give up this monster, but you ruin white's pawn structure.
But maybe it doesn't work concretely because queen h6 and knight g5 is very, very quick.
That's right. And this is very dangerous, this idea. You can always try f6, but...
Yeah.
No, I understand.
I like this this rook d8. Just trying to... if we can get an endgame, just with the bishop pair. Why complain?
Okay, Ilan is going for your idea,
yeah?
More tricks.
I know a trick when I see one.
So h6, nice prophylactic move, stopping knight g5. And
Do
this
we
bishop
go
can come now to f5.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about knight e4 here, but it just drops the pawn on b2. Wait, does it?
Well, rook d1, you can still
Take with the bishop.
Yeah.
But maybe
So-
maybe the knight just isn't too well placed on e4. Takes on d8. Maybe trying
And
to go
rook
rook
d1.
d1, just trading.
I
some
like
pieces.
that. Yeah, I like to
Mhm.
trade some pieces, and then you take, I take back with the knight.
Mm.
I have solved this problem along the diagonal.
Yeah.
So some pressure, but white is fighting. Now,
Yeah,
knight d1.
definitely. I mean, the bishop pair is always nice. 11 seconds, not so nice, but at least now some of the pressure is off. You still have a solid position actually. When you're white here, you don't really have any weaknesses. You just don't have the bishop pair, and your pieces need to coordinate better. Bishop f5, an annoying move. Now the queen has to move somewhere, protecting the pawn on c2. The knight on d1 has a difficult time moving because of the pawn on b2. Yeah,
Yes, so I believe that the most reasonable way to proceed is to play c3 and then knight e3. But this is actually blundering a pawn. The pawn on b2.
Yeah, I was thinking why we couldn't take on b2 immediately, but of course bishop f5, so the bishop could be taken on f5. So bishop e6 was a very nice inclusion, and yeah, this endgame with the bishop pair and a pawn more for black should just be crushing. Bharat was with a very nice game here. I think this d5 move was so difficult to reply to.
Exactly.
And Pranav winning yet another game, going to 6.5 points out of 7.
So, well, this is just a matter of technique. You have the bishop there.
Oh, be careful with saying that.
I know. So many things can happen in a chess game.
I don't know if you've seen the new Jacob Ogor book, just a matter of technique, it's called.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see 900-page endgame book just on the theme of the matter of technique.
You said it's from Jacob Ogor, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How do you pronounce it once again?
Ogor.
Oh, we would say agar in Spain.
Yeah. Every time I've pronounced it to a foreigner, I've always they always laugh at me because they think it's so weird.
Yeah. It looks like you put so much effort in the pronunciation. It's like you do so many things with the mouth, you know.
And really, it's just a fluent pronunciation. Okay, maybe we should check out another game. How about the game of Sahiti against Lou?
All right, let's go there. Sahiti, where are you, my friend?
Because they're having an endgame here, and I'm very curious what you will think about this bishop versus knight, because I always find it so difficult to evaluate what's going on.
I think black is a pawn up, but I think black has zero option of winning this endgame. I mean, if you play king g3, maybe you have options, yeah. I mean, king h4, king h3. With the king on g3 or even h3, there's no penetration, right? So you just had to keep the king over there. But now, of course, you want to play king h3, king h2, and then maybe you can...
King g1, king f1, king e1.
Exactly. You can go there, you know. And once again, king g3.
Oh, wow. She went back to g5. What is this?
Yeah.
Because I was actually thinking that the bishop on d8 was doing such a nice job keeping the king on g3 out of h4 and g5, and Sahiti actually realizing her mistake of letting the king go to h4. I just don't understand why Lou went back to g5.
Yes, maybe she didn't see clearly how to proceed. Like sometimes you say, okay, I'm gonna go there, and white is not gonna do nothing in this position. It's gonna be real, but in fact, white cannot penetrate with this bishop controlling all knight's jumps, and the king cannot penetrate. The bishop also controlling the h4 square, so that's why this maneuver was very, very strong.
Yeah, and a threefold repetition making that game into a draw. So maybe it seems like Mishra is winning yet another game, this time against Anastasia Nilssen from Ukraine. Mishra going on a 2-game winning streak, perhaps just making a nice comeback here in the penultimate round of the day.
So all games are finished now?
We still have the game Schneider versus Barath, actually.
Okay, let's go there then. Well, completely over right now. Bishop f3, h4 coming.
That's very nice. And Schneider once again just with the increment.
And
yeah,
h3.
The pawns, they are rolling down the board very, very quickly. H3 also nice. Of course, the pawn cannot be stopped if you take on g4. Can the pawn be stopped at all, actually?
No, h2.
It's just going down. Yeah.
Right, and that's a queen. And Ilan resigns. So, well, what are the standings after this 7th round? We have Pranav leading with 19 points, and then we have a tie once again for the 2nd place between Ilan Party and Varath. Then Samunenkov with 13 points. Mishra already in the 5th place, trying to make a comeback with 12 points. We have Gurel, Lu, Basnavala, Domus, Sahiti, Hasti, his name is just impossible for me. Natsisim from Ukraine, Schneider, Fanfores, Candela, and Aydin in the last place with 0 out of 15.
A very exciting day today for sure. It's
okay, Ellen, tell me the best thing about Denmark and the worst thing.
The best and the worst thing?
Exactly.
Oh, you're really putting me on the spot here. So the problem is that there are so many good things about Denmark that it's difficult to mention them all. Well, I think the best thing we have in Denmark is probably hygge. You might have heard about this before. The very hygge.
Hygge? What is
hygge? Like it's a Danish word for coziness. But it's a very specific feeling that you have, and it's translating it into coziness doesn't really do it any justice.
Okay.
The worst thing,
the weather, maybe.
I was actually just thinking about it. Yeah, could be the weather. It's changing so much. Either it's too hot or too cold, but I'm also the type of person that I need a very specific temperature to be happy. But you asked about my evening plans. Are you going to eat as much ice cream as I am, or are you
probably.
Still younger
but
than
here,
me?
remember, here it's still 5 p.m. So I'll try to go to the gym maybe, and then I'll.
You have a long day ahead of you.
Exactly. So I like being here because usually when I do commentary, I still have some hours after work. But
yeah, so are you an A or a B type of person?
What is this like?
Do you go to bed late and get up late, or do you like to go to bed early and get up early?
No, usually I like going to bed like early and then try to get up around 8-9 a.m. or something.
Oh, like that. Wow, that's not the usual chess player answer.
Exactly. But I was never a professional in chess, so I worked as a professor and engineer, and so that's why I couldn't have this kind of life, like studying chess until 4 a.m. and then all my friends do this, chess players, but it's too messy for me, this life,
Yeah, so what are you teaching?
I was teaching actually applied mathematics in Germany.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of mathematics. If I wasn't going to study economics and business administration, I would have had some maths in there. I even considered just pure maths.
Ooh.
But that was a little bit too hardcore for me, so I decided to do something.
No, even for me, I'm not a mathematician. Actually, I'm a civil engineer, but then I did some masters and PhD in applied mathematics. But math is too much for me, so.
Yeah, it's too much for many people, and we have liftoff here in the last round of the day. Pick a game. You have made me pick a few, so I think it's your time.
Let me see what do we have. For example, it's always so tough for me to make decisions. Okay, let me
close your eyes and count to.
Yeah, let's pick this Erdogmus versus Mishra.
I'm actually really happy you chose this one, because whenever I'm white, I never know what to play against this semi-Slav kind of. Yeah, they went into the Botvinnik system, so I didn't even get to finish my sentence. This line has theory so deep that, you know, my brain would never be able to contain the amount of lines that you need to know. Do you know any of these lines?
Well, I actually know something because in like 2-3 years ago, I played against Shirov in the Spanish championship, and he was playing every game this line. So I prepared for 3-4 hours, and then, but I didn't understand anything, of course.
I don't think you need to understand anything in this line. No. You just need to play.
Exactly. It's just a crazy line, as you guys can see. Like, well, there's no symmetry in this position. Black has some double pawns. White has a pass pawn here, and this king usually goes to this side of the board, and usually white goes for sure castle. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And
so a4 is played. Now, if black decides to play b4, the structure on the queen side really ruins the pawn, and c4 gets weak. The knight can go to e4 and c5. So b4 is definitely not the move you want to play here. White is threatening to win a pawn. So I can see this is a little bit of cheating, but I can see that the engine actually goes for rook h4 here, just to attack the pawn on d4. And to me, that's just insane. This rook move.
Yeah, that's a very nice move, but not very human once again. So maybe a6 is human in this position, right? So just reinforce the pawn chain. But I think maybe knight e4 and knight c5 could be a problem in that position. Not sure.
Yeah, this maneuver is very annoying for black to deal with. The knight on c5 is so strong.
Exactly, because this position with a pawn on a7 and a pawn on a2, you can play knight a6 and kick this knight back to c5. But here you cannot play knight d7 because the bishop hangs. Yeah.
That's a very good point.
So rook h4 was played by Mishra.
Wow, Mishra finding rook h4.
And this rook has two purposes. The first one is to target the d4 pawn, but even more important, to control the e4 square. So there's no knight e4 followed by knight c5. So.
Oh, that's really, really well done. And time well spent also. It seems like Mishra took a little bit of time to find this move. And Yakish here actually replying fairly quickly. Maybe he saw this move coming.
Yeah, a takes e5, rook d4, queen e3. So material is balanced. Position is still crazy. And I believe white wants to finally complete development with bishop e2, followed by short castle. And still, black pieces are not so well coordinated, I believe. And the king is maybe not so stable here or in the queen side, not to mention the king side. So
yeah, we've seen this maneuver of either king f1, king g2, or king f8, king g7 a few times today, but I don't think we will see it in this position.
No, in this game. Maybe black wants to trade queens. That would be a nice way of minimizing risks against this king on e8.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
and also the... Yeah, sorry.
Yes? No, tell me.
No, also just trading the queens just would leave the king a little less vulnerable. So after queen e5, I guess that white would not trade queens. But where do you put the queen then? Is queen h3 a move?
Queen h3, I'm very scared of, this kind of moves.
c5 was played, actually. That's...
yeah. And now short castle is coming for sure, yeah?
We're not afraid?
I'm not afraid right now. Maybe in a couple of moves. But I think white can play always f3 in these positions. And I think this bishop is not so dangerous. Of course, there's always some danger, but I prefer white definitely in this position. The pawn on c5 and c4 always kind of weak. And what's your next move here? Maybe queen f4 or queen e5 still.
You still want to trade the queens?
Yeah, with the queens here, this is if you give me two moves, then black could be in real trouble.
Goes for a 95 instead. Maybe trying to be a little bit more ambitious, do you think?
Yes.
Getting
Yes,
the knight to
definitely.
d3, perhaps. I don't know if
Right.
it's a stable square because of the move b3.
Mhm.
But at least, trying to put the knight forward, maybe putting the king on e7, rook to g8.
Yeah, you want to play maybe queen g6, queen g7 probably, so you protect the knight on e5 and then at the same time attack on g2.
Mm-hmm.
And
now bishop
then-
f3 is never a move.
No, exactly, because you just take.
Mm.
So probably the critical test is f4 here, and I was thinking queen g7. I think I have to go g3. Then the diagonal is completely opened.
Yeah, I think f4 to me is a very difficult move to make because I actually like your idea of going f3 just to try to pin down the bishop on b7. But as you said, if you go f4, the king can always get very, very open.
Right. So f4, queen g7. Sorry for this arrow. f4, queen g7, g3, knight g4, takes, f5. What's going on there?
Those are some weak squares. Queen h3, rook f2,
rook f2 there,
rook d3,
rook d3,
queen c5. Then there is
queen e5. Yeah.
Queen e5. Because your pawn is on f5. There's no rook takes g3.
Right,
yes.
right.
Yeah, because I was trying to be a little bit clever, but it didn't quite work. He's taking a lot of time here.
Yes, and it's not strange because position is extremely complicated. Here you can consider a lot of moves like f3. I don't know, f3 is so stupid. No, right? It's also natural, like fighting against this guy on b7.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like the idea earlier. We have a comment in the Twitch chat by the Chess24 moderator, Ipshi. More arrows than Hikaru.
Sorry, guys, I was not paying attention to the Twitch chat. I only had Chess24 plus Chess, the website plus YouTube, but now I have you guys here as well.
Well, Jagish just thinking like there's no tomorrow in this position, but made the move f4 finally.
F4.
Oh,
very nice.
My.
And,
I have to say I'm so confused.
Me too.
Like I don't understand this kind of chess at all. F4 is a great move, but it's just that king is just so open.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very concrete, I believe. So now after 93, maybe you want to go f5. And so you want to expose this king as well. Exactly. This queen is weaker in this position. Yeah, and maybe you can even go long castle here, giving up the a7 pawn. These positions are so crazy.
Long castles. Oh my. Okay. Going for queen g6, not this queen g7 thing.
Right.
But now queen g6 still threatening mates.
Yes. So here, g3 and rook f2 are the two most natural moves.
What I like about no, never mind. I was going to say what I like about g3 is that rook f2. Maybe there's some rook like knight g4 sometimes, which could be annoying, but I changed my mind. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think you just take and then play f5 once again. I think the pawn is a little bit better on g2 than on g3 because then this diagonal is not so dangerous anymore.
Yeah.
And f5 is gonna come sooner or later. I mean sooner than later. So knight d3, f5. Knight g4, take, and f5.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do as black. This f5 move that you've shown, it's just so difficult to deal with.
Right, because I mean, if you go long castle, maybe
just takes on a7. Like, what is black threatening?
Maybe nothing. That's right. I wanted to go queen e5 in that position just to capture this pawn with a chess.
Okay, yeah.
But queen e5 is being played. Natural move, just attacking the c5 pawn, and the only way to protect it is just to play queen f5. There's no other way. because after rook c8, now I just grab the pawn on a7.
But queen f5, like, do we trade?
Well, if yeah.
Okay, but
Of
now f5, and you can't protect the pawn on c5.
Right.
And you're still with the king on e8. Ooh.
One important thing is after rook queen c5, then rook f4. So that's why you cannot take it immediately. But f5, as you say, it's very dangerous for black. Super dangerous.
But at least none of them has a lot of time. 30 seconds for Yagish and 1 minute for Api here. Oh, and 20 seconds, it's going down. Yagish needs to make a move.
Yeah.
Because this, he might be completely winning, but this is still complicated. Going down to 10 seconds, this is not going to cut it.
Go for it, my friend. Probably get scared about rook d2 or something.
Yes,
like
for sure. But queen c7.
Wow, what is this? So bishop g2, rook d1, knight d1, rook d1, rook d1, queen d1, king f2,
king f2, queen d2,
queen d2, king g3.
King g3. That's nice.
What's going on there?
So do we play queen d4 instead? King g3, queen g7.
Maybe there's a repetition there. No.
But okay, seeing that is just insane, and trying to go for it also when neither player has any time.
Exactly, and now white is a clean pawn up. Queen g5, very nice defensive move.
Queen g5 is nice.
Now I think they're gonna trade everything. Rook d2 followed by rook b2, but then this pawn on the h file could be decisive, and then rook a7 is also coming. Mishra in real trouble right now. Takes.
Yeah. Like the pawns, they're just falling. What's the count? 4 against 5, and the pawn on a7. Yeah, sometimes you just have to count. Okay, at least taking on b2, no? b2 and g2. I like b2 because g2 we should be able to take afterwards. So rook a7, bishop g2.
For black is that these two pawns on h and the b file are very hard to stop, right? So h5 is coming, h6, and the pass pawn on c4 is already blocked by the knight. The king is already doing a great job against the e6 pawn. So I think this is gonna be very hard to defend for black. Knight e4. I don't like this move.
You don't? I was gonna say I love this move, trying to checkmate. It's so close.
Yeah, maybe now after rook b3, I just start going through the dark squares, right?
Yeah, because it was very close to just being forced checkmate. Also, if the pawn was an h5, at least there would be some kind of Arabian mate.
Just what is this?
Didn't want the pawn on b5.
Can I take this pawn?
Okay, but there's a threat of c. No, there's not a threat of c2.
The king could escape, right? Check.
Okay, gaining a little bit of time.
King
what
d8.
is going on here? Is Api playing for the win?
Rook d7. I don't know. This is crazy. 4 seconds. b6.
b6.
Only move e5 now. Who understands this?
What?
I don't get it.
Why don't we take on b6?
Exactly. And this is over.
This is insane. King c. Rook c4, h5.
Well, I think this pawn is going to promote very soon. G6.
That's a fast running pawn. Maybe we can just play h6, no? Just h6,
yes,
h7. And how do you stop the pawn? You have to give a check on g2. But then after the king moves, you take on f7 and go rook f8, or just rook up. Or you can take on...
rook up. That's more than right. That's more than right.
Yeah. And
game over, yeah?
Yagish taking this one home in a dramatic finish. Oof. Okay, playing a little bit here, but it's not going to be enough. Should we see if Pranav had a buy in this round? Okay, sorry. Oof, we have a few games left. Aydin is pushing against Caldena. Maybe we should see if maybe she wasn't pushing anyway. Oh, I'm scared. Maybe I just jinxed her.
There is a pawn here which is about to promote.
But I don't know.
Only move. Knight h3 because of the knight e2. Queen takes e2 followed by a8.
Oh, queen e2. But did she lose on time? She's not moving.
Yeah, something's wrong. I don't know. Yes, she lost some time actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aiden.
I shouldn't. I jinxed it. Barath has a piece and 2 pawns against a queen and 3 pawns. This is reminding me a little bit of the Pranav game that we were looking at.
Is this a draw, maybe? I mean, if I play h5 here with black, how are you gonna beat me? I mean, I put my queen on the 7th rank or start checking like a crazy guy?
Just checking like a crazy person already.
Yeah.
And now king h3, queen f5. No.
No,
queen f5. No, not trade. Yeah? Sorry. I was thinking that maybe there was some g5, but the corner is also the right color, so never works.
e4. I think it's very tough to win this game.
But you wanted to play h5 as black, or
no, not now because of queen
not now
e7.
because of queen e7, but in general.
No.
I mean.
Actually, you can because the bishop on d4 is hanging. So.
Yes, I believed you.
No, I blunder pieces all the time. But yes, my fortress is with a queen on f7, let's say, and then a pawn on h5.
Okay.
So how do you proceed there?
Yeah.
Maybe,
okay.
Maybe
queen
no
c8.
way,
that was an important move, so that you still had a check and could queen b7 here. I guess protect on g7 and give a check, and now move the queen to a light square.
So g4, yeah, you.
Okay, g4. I like this. Maybe that was like a.
That's why I wanted to play.
You wanted to pawn on h5, yeah.
Not queen e4, and then the idea is to push h5, and you're in some sort of Sutzbank. Actually, you are. No, not this move, but
not g5, but h5 now or
queen e4 before was very annoying for black here. Because you want to push h5 after queen b3, you just play maybe bishop e3.
But you weren't scared of trading queens in that? No, actually, you're not scared of trading.
No, I think trading queens. Almost any endgame is winning. What happened here? Oh, queen h2. What happens here? Queen h2. How this was win? Queen h2.
Oh, queen a7 forces a trade of queens.
Queen a2. Ah, this move. Queen a7. Wow, beautiful.
What is this? This is insane. I don't understand chess. This is what chess is. But it is actually the last remaining game of the day. We have a lot of decisive results today. But this one could go on for a little while with all the checks that the black queen is giving.
Yeah, white has to try, of course. You're a piece up, so. But incredibly, this position is not winning.
Yeah, it's very weird. Now we play bishop d4, and then we try to get the same thing as before.
Right, only move queen h3 now. Yes.
Yeah, if Patzer sees a check, Patzer gives a check. At least that's what I do. Okay, but how do you escape the checks on the light squares?
I think it's not possible. You have to somehow move the queen or the bishop, and then this way you're not targeting g7 anymore. Don't trade queens.
Don't trade queens. Don't do the same thing as I have been trying to do for a little bit too long.
King7.
Yeah, just give a lot of checks and see how life works out.
Well, now king e8. Here, this was winning. Yeah. This was winning once again with king c7.
Winning.
And after queen e7, then queen d7. And you have to trade queens.
No checks.
Now it's winning once again according to the engine. Crazy, because there's no way to protect g7 now.
The checks are running out?
Exactly. Now
queen c2, king d8?
No, queen takes g5. You have to be careful.
Yeah, but on queen c2 there was king d8. How do you escape it now? Queen c1 was a nice try.
Well, king c8 and now queen c7 after queen c1.
Queen c7, and then there are no more checks.
Exactly. So this is the only check. And then, well, queen c2 maybe. But then after queen c2, you go king d8, of course.
Yeah, because now the pawn on g5 isn't hanging with check anymore.
Right. Very nice. Very
But
nice
here-
maneuver from Barat, who won the game already.
Really nice. I would have kept on playing because
Yeah.
you're a little bit close to getting stalemated, but not quite.
Right.
Had the pawn,
Right.
had it been a white pawn on g6, the position
Yes.
would actually have been a draw.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I don't.
because
Yeah,
you
you
stay
probably
there.
remember this Shankland game against Giri from Tata
Exactly. He
Steel.
resigned in a drawn position. Yeah,
Yes.
in a drawing position.
So, but that
Okay,
was
so-
actually all the games for today. What an
Mhm.
exciting day we had.
It's been a roller coaster, and well, let's check the standings before we leave. And we have Pranav with
In
sorry,
clear first place. No,
Okay,
not in
good.
clear first place. Sorry, because Ihor has played one more round than Pranav, but also Ilan
right.
Parthi and Barath.
Mhm.
So Pranav actually isn't leading with that much. In reality, he's only leading with 1 point.
Mhm.
But then he has to win the game that the others haven't played. It's a little bit confusing, but let's just say that we have a tied for first for the moment. And Mishra making a comeback here at the end of the day, probably really happy about that. But it's going to be tough to catch up with only 7 rounds left to go.
And
Mishra.
yes, it's going to be extremely exciting tomorrow. Remember, we'll come back at the same time for the remaining 7th rounds for this Challenger Chess to this Magnus Academy Challenge. It's been a real pleasure, Ellen, to do commentary with you.
Yeah, you too. I am super excited for tomorrow. And of course, also a huge thank you to everyone who's been watching today. We hope that you have enjoyed the commentary, and we definitely hope to see you back tomorrow.
Yeah, take care, guys. See you tomorrow.
See you.
Be
Bye-bye.
good. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Pragyananda. Do you want to use my games to improve your chess? Now you can do. We have handpicked 50 puzzles from my games played in Champions Chess Tour this season.
I went bishop c5, d4 and queen e4. Yeah, another crucial win for the qualification to top 8.
You can download it for free just by going to chess24.com/puzzlepack. Enjoy solving.
He played the Berlin, which I sort of expected, but I didn't really know what to do against, because in reality very few people do.
When we are playing an even game against someone of similar strength to us, usually we need to give something in order to obtain the initiative.
Just how shrewd and cunning Alireza can be, even with very little time.
I want to show you a game just to prove that I play these lines that I played against former world number 2 and a bit of a superstar, Gata Kamsky.
Hi, I'm Levon Aronian.
I'm Magnus Carlsen.
My name is Giri.
Grandmaster Adiman Bhaskar.
Grandmaster Hans Zeman.
Grandmaster Lim.
Ivan Šarić, former European champion.
As a teenager, I began teaching in local elementary schools. And when I grew up, I started a program to teach chess to kids.
I joined my brother Adam's company to teach chess to kids.
I loved every minute of it. The organization I founded grew from a couple schools that I started teaching on my own to eventually working with more than 1,000 teachers.
More than 100,000 kids in 400 schools. One of the things that we've worked really hard on is our curriculum and teacher training. We've worked really hard on what it looks like for the coach, how it works for the students, making sure that it's participatory, making sure that it's fun.
Our Chess Academy has 2 main components.
We offer in-person and online camps, classes, and tournaments. The online programs are structured so the students learn in small groups, no more than 8 students. Generally, they're grouped by skill with a coach who's really good and fun and engaged. For some of those students, the coaches are masters or even grandmasters if we need them to.
One of the unique aspects of Magnus Chess Academy is the opportunity for the students to meet and interact with and learn from some of the most famous and successful chess players in the world, including Magnus himself,
Judith Polgar a bunch of times, Anish Giri,
several former US champions, the stars of the chess documentary film Brooklyn Castle, national scholastic champions themselves, and many others.
We think that your children will have a great time in our online academy. And so if you're interested, you can go ahead and sign up and see if we have a good spot for them in the academy.
Visit chessacademy.com/trial to try out an online small group class with no long-term commitment.
Oh, he will go queen h5 check with a double attack. Attack the king and attack the pawn. And you thought, no, can't have that. I don't want the double attack. And so, with this very good insight, you chose the move g5, trying to block the queen's access.